Hey everybody, welcome back to the Help Action. It's episode 30. Holy cow, we made it so far. We are a Dungeons and Dragons live stream that we play for charity every week here for you. We do this with a good cause in mind. Iris, what good cause have we had in mind for this whole campaign?
I'm glad you asked, Evan. This week, just pouring it on. This week, as with every episode up till now, we are raising money for the Transgender Law Center. Founded in 2002, the Transgender Law Center is the largest trans-specific, trans-legal organization in the United States. Their tireless efforts to defend and advance the rights of transgender and gender non-conforming people have resulted in precedent-setting victories in areas including employment, prison conditions, education, immigration, and healthcare. In addition to their legal work, they also organize community-specific programs such as Black Trans Circles, the Disability Project, the Black LGBT, and Positively Trans, that inform and empower trans and gender non-conforming folks across America. Did I freeze or something?
You did for 2 seconds, but I think we caught everything.
We got it.
Wonderful. Okay, well, our total raise right now is at $3,275. We'd love to hit that 5K at some point, so if you have $1 or $2 to spare, hit up the Tiltify link in our chat. You can leave us a little message. We'll read it at the end of the show. You can ask us questions. You can just say hi, whatever you want to do. It's super fun, and it's for a great cause, so please consider if you have a spare few bucks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, like Iris said, we do tend to stay in character while we play, and audience participation in that manner is limited. But one of the awesome ways that you can is asking those questions. You can have us answer things in character or talk about any of the things that you're curious about that sort of happened behind the screen or how this came to be, or even just, I don't know, leave funny comments like a lot of people do. We love that. If you would like to donate, Nero, actually, Tommy and Robin are going to do this today. Where do we find all of our social media stuff?
Online.
You can click on us online, and people say, "Where can I click on you?" Well, you can click on us at thehelpaction.com, and from that, it's kind of what you might call the mother,
the central hub.
The central hub. It's like the brain. Robin explained to us like the brain. Twitch.tv/thehelpaction is what you are watching right now.
That's the heart.
Yeah, that's the heart.
Yeah.
It pumps the blood of content to the brain.
Wow.
Anyway, twitch.tv/thehelpaction, thehelpaction.com.
Is there a web address for this brain?
Other than thehelpaction.com?
That's it. There you go.
I said it 3 times.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I was busy covering my face.
Yeah. Too busy being embarrassed of our ad read, which is totally
Not
scripted.
embarrassed at all. There was something on my palm I was trying to figure out.
A good read.
Awesome. With that, we do this every week. What time and when do we do that, Nero?
Generally, it's on the day called Wednesday, and it's at 7 p.m. PST, which is the Pacific side of the continent known as North America.
Faerun. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I said Faerun, but I was wrong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there too, probably. I don't know how time works in Dungeons and Dragons.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. But we know that here it's 7 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. And you can use Google to figure it out wherever you are.
That's true. The internet's your friend, and we're friends on the internet. Without any further ado, we're going to jump into... That made no sense, but that's okay. We're going to jump into a quick recap of the last episode and then begin our adventure for the evening. So, as you returned from Wave Echo Cave and made your way back in the early wee morning hours into Phandalin, did a few things, talked to a few people, took a rest, and were invited to a dinner at Sister Carolee's house, the cleric of Tamora that takes care of the Shrine of Good Luck and has helped you in a few different situations during your adventure. As you headed over to her home that evening for dinner, you were greeted by an excellent spread of good food, but noticed that the interior of her house was completely packed up. She had gear by the door, and it looked like she was ready to leave. As you ate, she discussed the things that you did and the adventures that you had while you were in Wave Echo Cave and the nature of your findings there, and then proposed a question before probing further. If you were interested in joining the Harpers. She mentioned to you that the Harpers were this clandestine network of spellcasters and spies who often work alone and aim primarily to tip the scales in the favor of the innocent, weak, and poor, and to remain as incorruptible as possible, while working behind the scenes to aid the oppressed and keep a finger on the pulse of power within the realms. In their long history throughout the realms, they've done things like deposing tyrants, securing powerful magical items before evildoers could get access to them, and gathered information that has been used by kings to aid and by other groups to stop those kings in certain wars. As of yet, no decision by the group has been made whether or not to join the Harpers, but she did nevertheless request your assistance for a journey, a 4-day travel east down the Triboar Trail to the city of Triboar, where you were to meet Lord Protector Shendril, who happens to be an agent of the Harpers, the leader of all of Triboar. You were explained that several areas of the north had seen giant activity recently, attacks on civilizations of men, elves, dwarves, and other races across the realms. Most recently, there was an attack on the small town of Nightstone in the Ardeep Forest by cloud giants. In addition to that, dwarvish strongholds far to the north, Citadel Felbar to the northeast, and Mirabar to the northwest were attacked by fire giants and frost giants, respectively. These locations, as she explained, held these long-forgotten giant relics, either for academic study or simply kept for valued items of grandeur by the wealthy. Triboar itself apparently now holds a relic similar to these that the Lord Protector has identified as belonging to possibly some giant clan. Which one is unsure. You made some good history checks and were able to recall some information about giants, and that they are usually reclusive, and that their empire once dominated all the land, rivaled only by the Kingdom of Dragons, who are the giants' mortal enemies and continue to be to this day. Hundreds of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, their civilizations fell, and both of those have spread few and far between. Giants in the realms are as rare as dragons are, uncommon and kept alive through fable and tale. So, with the Harpers spread increasingly thin as these events continue to unroll, especially if, after you letting Sister Garrily know what was going on in Wave Echo Cave, they are to assist in guarding and studying the Forge of Spells, they need new people to assist with new problems. They need to find out why the giants are attacking and to establish a line of communication. But first and foremost, to ensure that the relic that is unearthed in Triboar, buried under a caravan campground, is not one that may cause Triboar to be targeted, and if it is, to defend or otherwise defuse or prevent the attack. Lastly, Sister Garrily informed you that she would be traveling with you and joining the party for a brief moment of time to establish a line of trust and communication between you all and the Lord Protector Shendril of Triboar. And so you prepared to leave and were given several gifts by the townfolk. As you headed out, you received some sheets of sending from Elman Jasper. Gundren gave you the ring from his now missing finger, and you received the cart and horses in proper ownership now, not just loaned from Sildar. Halia Thornton granted you a spell scroll, yet undiscovered, and a load of rations was given to you by the proprietors of the Stonehill Inn. And then, of course, Droop decided to show up and give you small dirt-clawed effigies of each of yourselves. And lastly, Harbin Wester, the town master, approached the scene in a huff and gave you a letter addressed to the Lord Protector. And then you embarrassed him heartily in front of the rest of the town, and he screamed and cried off to his small hole where he hides.
Nobody knows who did it.
Not a single soul is aware. And so, just before you left town, you were invited to sign the mantle at the Stonehill Inn, and then you received a heap of various provisions from Barthens, and all of you purchased individual and unique clothings of outfits of winter clothing. And so you departed from town and headed a good way down the road, and as you traveled, Bree, you noticed that something large was tucked in the exterior pocket of your thick winter coat. It was an extensive map of the north with, painted onto buckskin and tooled with raised marks, a very, very detailed account of both your journeys in the lands that lie without, that you have not yet visited. And a small note from Halia encouraging you to continue to mark down the path of your travels. And so as you continued along the trail, you traveled for the first day with no issues and are now due at nightfall here to pull the cart over for the evening and make camp. And so we resume our adventure here, about a day's travel outside of Phandalin, as you continue along the trail. The horse is tired, yourselves not worn out, still sort of feeling that excitement from a new adventure and having only a day's rest after the harrowing experiences at Wave Echo Cave. But as night begins to fall and the sky around you fades from that dusky bluish gray with those small flakes of snow beginning to fall, it turns to those dusky purples, sort of midnight magenta colors as the sunset begins to fall. And as the bird calls are replaced by the flapping of wings of bats and the night insects come out to chirp just a few more days before winter falls, what would you all like to do as far as finding camp and a suitable location to rest? Additionally, you do have the option to continue to travel through the night if you would like to.
I don't know if it would be wise to push through the night. But
Yeah, I'm down to pitch camp here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seems nice.
Sister Garley, is that agreeable with you?
That's perfectly fine. I don't think that you have it. I don't think you've noticed yet, but the proprietors of Barthens, they let me know so that I could let you know. You seemed a little busy as we left town. They put a lot of supplies in the back of the cart here that we've kind of been sitting around. Among them are a couple tents.
Stepping it up.
I was just sitting here
Great.
thinking, like, maybe I could leave one out of grass or dye. But tents?
Or we could sleep under the
Boys, we're
stars.
moving on up.
I just said, or we could sleep under the stars.
How's that weather looking?
We've done enough of that.
Make a general purpose survival check, not only to just sort of eyeball the weather around you, but get an idea of what it will be like after night falls.
All right. That is going to be a 15.
15. The snow has not increased throughout the day, just the occasional flake that melts as soon as it hits the ground. It is very much sort of a first early fall snow. And you suspect that in the night, the dew will freeze and it will be chilly, but sequestered around a campfire, you should be fine. The precipitation shouldn't make you wet, but if you wish to stay extra warm or just enjoy a night of privacy, either from your companions or from any insects that may still be active before winter, you can pitch your tents.
Well, I, for one, don't feel like rolling into Tribor with a sniffly nose. I'd be down to see if we can figure out how to pitch those tents.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's find
And
a
I
spot.
want to use our new thing.
Yeah!
Okay.
Yeah, new thing.
So as you pull out these three, each of them roughly a 2-person tent. There are 3 of them. I will say it's up to you how you would like to describe their appearance or setup, or how you sort of build them and create your campsite around the fire as you pull Jesse and Big Rig off to the side, lash them to a nearby post, and make sure that there's somewhere where there's plenty of grass for them to munch on and a bucket of water to drink from. What does your camp look like?
7.
Better yet, better question. What is each of you doing to begin to prepare to set camp? And we will refer to this as sort of your, as you spend days on the road, your sort of ritual as you
Sure.
continue ahead.
I'm
I
confidently setting up a tent as if I've done it a million times before.
Okay.
I'll start the fire for, firing.
Easy enough. Just a cantrip away. Gather a few stones and set them into a circle and illuminate that as you, Bree, begin to set about unpacking the small rolled up canvas tents with the various... these ones actually have tooled collapsible metal poles.
Wow, fancy. Pretty nice tech. I am also attempting to set up a tent. I have not done this a million times before,
Okay.
and I'm assuming I probably need to roll to see how well I do.
It would be fun if you did. Make a survival
Yeah.
check.
Survival check? Okay.
The rule of fun.
Crush this, and I'm going to shock you all by how good my tent pitching skills are.
Yeah.
19, baby! That thing
Oh,
flies
wow.
out of the package, and it is up.
Oleander almost beats you to the punch in finishing setting up one of the two tents.
Oh,
There's a third that remains to be set up. The two of you
Well-
can tackle that together, or someone else can handle it.
I'm standing on the sideline having executive dysfunction and waiting for someone to tell me what to do.
Glass, did you want to get a hand on the ball here with that third one?
Yes. Yep. Would you? Is it kind of like is there a manual or?
Oh, it practically explains itself. You just put the poles in the thing and the tents and it just kind of goes.
Sure. Kind of like is it like an above ground or?
Most tents generally are, yes.
Sure, everyone knows that trick question. Okay, I'm gonna start just flapping the canvas. And just like waiting for something to happen.
All right, I'll go over and help.
Yeah, Bree, could you get the
I'll
other part?
I'll get the other part.
Yeah, thank you.
Sometimes we voluntarily just role play complete failures at various checks, and I love it.
Who would know what a success looked like?
You've got two of them sitting before you. You do know what the successes look like.
I was too busy not paying attention. Class was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good job.
yeah, thank you.
Eventually, you have your campsite set up. Is it just sort of like a little semicircle of the three around the fire, or do you have something else set up?
Yeah.
Semicircle.
Yeah, it's a cute little semicircle with the openings facing the fire.
Perfect.
And then
As,
Jesse and Big Rig on the other side.
so every time you emerge from your tents, you see just beyond the flames of fire the faces of your faithful horses.
You're part of the team.
Yeah.
Sure are.
If only there was some way for us to check in with them. Can you do that?
Yeah. I
Really?
literally never thought to do that.
It's fine.
Bree,
It's-
you're always talking about how you wish you had cool spells. You can talk to our horses?
Wait,
We
Wait,
have-
what? You can talk to animals?
I love these NPCs that have been sitting on the back burner for 30 episodes, and we're just not realizing
This whole time?
the shit they've been through.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can do that. That's pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Evan's just had horse voices that he's just been sitting on for who knows how
Two
long.
very
For the last
distinct-
10 seconds, I'm working on them right now. Right here.
Yeah, two very distinct, almost like different continents, what they've got going on.
Yeah.
They've got a whole
and
conlang.
very-
It's really impressive.
Rich backstories. unique.
Yeah, I bet you'd love to know what they were up to before they joined your party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll tell us right now.
Yep.
The last, 4 or 5 years of what they've been doing.
Please let one of them be like former adventurer that got turned into a horse.
Hey guys,
Spell.
just gonna say too, like now that we're like opening Pandora's box, like I mean they can hear us right now, right? So
I'm not entirely sure if it works that
I don't
way,
even
but-
know. You're right. I don't either.
Yeah.
I am desperately racking my memory to try to figure out if any of them saw me naked at any point.
Is that not allowed?
Because if they're animals, it's whatever. But if we talk
It
to them,
doesn't translate. It's
I mean,
I
they're
guess
like-
they're always naked, so it really doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah,
I love
but
the
truly, they
questions that
cannot be
sentence
naked,
brings.
or they've never been clothed. If you really think about it,
True. If you put a shirt on them, then when you took it off, they would look naked.
they would be embarrassed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Why were you doing the I offer you a trade hands?
Oh no. There's a fucking like Derrida essay about it's like 50 pages of him talking about what it's like having his cat watch him get out of the shower. He's like,
Cool.
it's really great.
Love the references on this program.
Everyone says so relatable.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Speak with Animals.
What does that look like as you cast it?
Oh,
That looks like
you want me to mouth you?
that looks like me I like okay. I like out of nowhere just pretend this is fine. I conjure an apple and feed it to Jesse.
I love that. Yeah, and as you cast the spell, for me, just based on the spell, does it allow you to speak with one animal, or does it allow you to just speak with animals?
I believe that's a good question.
Beasts.
With beasts.
Okay.
You know who else I'm gonna talk to.
So, as you conjure this apple, and as Jesse leans forward to take a bite out of it and just sort of spreads those scarily like large horse lips out and takes a big old chunk of it, you feel just sort of like push against the side of your face as Big Rig just sort of pushes the bridge of his nose into the underside of your chin and steals a bite as well. Then you just hear, that was really good. And you look over as Big Rig is just very, very slowly chewing and savoring this apple.
Yeah. What's
As of yet, unaware that there is a two-way link of communication here.
Sure. Yeah. Hey guys, I can talk to you.
Whoa. Are you hearing this? Yeah. Ah! Is that the short one talking to us? As Jesse sort of looks back at Big Rig and then over to you and says, "You understand me?"
Yeah. Just like not all the time, but just like right now.
Okay. Thanks for the apple.
Yeah. Thanks for like carrying us hundreds of miles by this point.
Yeah, we're good at that. It's kind of our job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like doing it.
Well, it's important to have a job that you like.
Sure.
What are you guys talking about?
Am I just like neighing to them?
Great. It doesn't say on the spell. I was
Yeah.
just
It
looking.
is entirely up to you the way that you would like to interpret the spell. Either you can just be speaking common and they can understand you through magic, or the sound of your voice is altered to something that they would understand, or something in between. It's up to you.
Whatever makes sense.
Sure. I love this. Yeah, I guess I'm just speaking common and it's being translated.
Yo, is that work? Is it working?
Yeah, it seems to be working. They
What do
The
they
rest of
sound
you
like?
do hear just sort of like various horse sounds that sound like they are actively conversing with Bree, although you're just hearing Bree speak common.
yeah. All right, the one thing I gotta know for sure. Do you guys sleep standing up? Is that for real?
I never really thought about it. It just kind of happens.
Bree, watch out. That might be offensive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've seen him do it before.
They're like
Only one of
they're-
them knows it?
They're not self-aware.
I
They don't-
will go ahead and let you know that horses have an intelligence of 2.
Okay. Cool.
And
we
so
can-
casting speak with animals does not grant them sentience. It just grants you the ability to basically understand the thought processes that they are experiencing, with maybe a mild upgrade to like syntax.
I'm gonna spend the rest of the campaign teaching these horses to read.
Bree's amazing
Oh, I love
reading horses.
As you are conversing with the horses and just sort of like chuckling and laughing and marveling at just the novelty of communicating with these, I guess now maybe you would call them people that have been with you for so long. You hear the flutter of wings and then a sharp grasp on your shoulder just above the scars left from that dream that you had so long ago. Just hear, hello. Can you hear me?
Wow. Winchester,
Yes, that's my name.
my man.
This is incredible.
Yeah. Whoa.
Say goodbye to Bree's spell slots. First thing every morning, like, what's your favorite color?
I'm just like standing by the fire, watching this go down, thinking about how I've never wanted anything more in my life. And just
Oh.
see this, experience this.
You can truly understand me.
Yeah. You can understand me.
I can.
I mean, I was like only half sure it would work, honestly, just because you're like,
No, it worked perfectly. Your grasp of magic's unfathomable.
oh, okay.
I'm so glad we can't hear
Yeah.
to like
Me
make
too.
that
You get
face.
the idea that Winchester is significantly more intelligent than these horses are.
Sure. Yeah.
I would say if you had to put it to numbers, 4 times more intelligent,
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably
which is
smarter
higher
some
than
of us.
some player characters I've run before. So
Sure.
Me.
Oh my gosh. You wait. Do you think I'm cool?
Ah,
my-
the one thing we would ask all of our pets.
Wow.
I'm not sure I understand the meaning, but
That's fair.
I am incredibly humbled to be in your service.
I'm just watching Bree just
This,
lose
yeah,
her
all
shit.
of these reactions are ones that Bree is having.
As he kind of turns and like preens under his feathers for a moment and then like turns back to you and then looks over the horse and says, "Can they hear you too? All the time?"
Yeah. Can you guys can you understand each other?
No, that's why I asked.
Okay. They're like they're not really as with it as you are.
Oh, I know that.
What I feel like I've been meaning to ask you so many things and I just
Okay,
forgot I had this spell.
sure. I'll try to answer.
Where are
How
you
long does this spell last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
from?
Okay.
10 minutes.
I'll say you got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Please,
All right.
if you have questions, I'd love to answer them. I'm just very happy to be able to talk with you.
Yeah. It's so cool. Man,
Yes?
I'm gonna do this every day now.
You're doing great.
Oh, I do have a
Yeah.
question.
Shoot.
I think it would be bad because everyone tolerates its presence. But the weasel, I can't eat it? It's not food?
You
I
know
don't-
what? I should have known that would, yeah.
I've
He's
tried
not-
very
yeah,
hard
not-
to make sure I don't do anything, but if you would
That's-
give me the go-ahead.
Not.
I don't think he'd agree with. Well, I don't actually know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you have no idea
Yeah.
what's being said right now.
I'm
It's just
literally just kind of like.
it's
staring
Bree
off
sitting there
into
like
space,
speaking common to
petting-
an owl, and the owl's just like, and she's like,
Yeah,
yeah
I'm
for
just kind
sure.
of watching this bemusedly, I'm just kind of like, oh, that's cute. You can talk to yours too now. Finally, that's adorable.
I feel a little bit like I'm like standing there, like watching, like, you know, I don't know, someone get to talk to like their husband who just came back from the war.
Yeah,
You know, we're like,
totally. That's what it feels like.
It's very much like going over to your friend's house and your friend's like speaking another language to like their parent, but like they're speaking English and the parent's speaking a language you don't understand, and you're just like sort of stuck in that like weird
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
So,
very well. I will not eat it.
Yeah, he's like, he's kind of our friend. So,
Okay, that's fine.
who are you talking about?
don't worry about it.
You said you had questions though.
Yeah, I mean, where are you from? And also, like, why are you hanging out with me? Not that I'm complaining. I mean, it's awesome. Like, it's really cool that you're here. I just, like, you kind of just, like, appeared one day, and it felt like it was a, you know, it was, like, a really special moment. And also, I feel like you're not entirely, like, normal animal, the like, three eyes thing, kind of.
Well, no, I reached out for as long as I could from the other side, but it was difficult to reach you. Almost, you seemed to sleep.
I was asleep. I literally was asleep. Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand, but I can really sense whatever degree of... It's hard to say. There's an earnestness to the way that you say it. It's...
I mean, yeah, I like had dreams about you before you showed up. It was- I
There's...
didn't realize
If an
it was,
owl
like,
could emote confusion, it does for a moment.
head just spins around.
Head turns on one side.
And then just sort of cocks it almost at an impossible angle to one side. Okay. I guess I didn't realize you weren't there with me. But I think understand that now I'm here with you.
Yeah. Where is there?
Be more clear.
It's,
Whatever you're talking about.
It's tricky. I mean, for me, that's home, and wherever this is strange. But I don't think that I know the name for it because I don't get to speak with anyone there all that often the way you're speaking to me now. I didn't think that was possible here. Everyone just talks in noise here. I can't hear them.
That sounds frustrating. I'm sorry.
But where I'm from is beautiful. It doesn't do this, and sort of looks up as the sun begins to just barely dip below the horizon and set into sunset. It's always the same there. About now. Just like that, all the time.
Wow. And you thought I was there with you?
Yeah, so...
Aww.
As the spell ends, and you sense that Winchester is still trying to communicate with you, but
Oh, no.
whatever line had been created by the Arcana there is severed.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. It's the line got cut. We'll do this again. Wow. It feels like if you ever made a long distance call back in the real telephone days, where it was time was so precious.
Yeah.
Well,
Or like a collect call where you're trying to reach somebody just within that short time that you get to say your name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. That was so cool.
Everyone else around you is oblivious to any of that conversation. And everything you're saying right now is probably met with, looks of confusion, looks of just boredom at this point after 10 minutes of conversation that you don't understand.
Happy for you. We're
That's
making
nice,
dinner.
Bree.
Yeah, we're heating up rations. Just watching, eating.
Have you eaten
Very,
today?
very cute.
And you see that Sister Garrely is sitting on sort of the opposite side of the fire, over to the left of Jesse and Big Rig, and just sort of wide-eyed with a big smile on her face.
Garrely, you're nice to me.
I guess I am.
All right.
Hey.
I'm gonna mage hand just flick for the other side of the head.
I just talked to Winchester.
We saw.
Yeah, we
And he understood me and could talk back.
know what happened.
Oh, okay. It was really cool.
I feel like I only caught one side of it, but that's got to be nice to connect with somebody that you love like that.
I think he's from a different place. Not our world.
Ooh, like a different plane or something?
Yeah.
That's the idea that I got. I mean,
That's cool.
he was saying that the light doesn't change there, or the sun never goes down. It always looks the same there.
Ooh, permanent golden
Yeah.
hour. That's
Would
gotta be great for
I
painting.
know what she's talking about?
Ambrose, on that description of the light never changing and it effectively remaining perpetually in either twilight or sunrise, make an Arcana check.
Okay.
I'll
say Arcana or History, your choice.
Okay.
Can I make a history check too, just to see if I've heard tales of that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let me do it as well.
I can do an Arcana check then, because both of my stats are the same for it.
Sure.
Wow, I got a 10. Not so
11.
good.
17.
17. Class?
Yeah. We all rolled the same number.
Oleander, you're unsure. It sounds wonderful and wild, wherever it is.
Sounds nice.
Ambrose, you've read about the various planes and that there are elemental planes of fire and water and ice, but the ones closest to the prime material plane are the ones that lie directly on top of it. The Shadowfell, the plane of darkness just below it, that mirrors our plane exactly in form, but differently in those that inhabit it in the way that time and everything functions. And then just above that, on top of the entire plane, an overlaid additional realm. The higher of the three planes, the Feywild, is identical to that. And you in particular are familiar with many tales of this place, where the sun always hangs in perpetual twilight, and the greenery is massive and beautiful, and everything there occurs ever so slightly differently or wrong from the way it happens here. At some point, you know that an ancestor of yours, however far back that may be, maybe you're confident of, maybe you're unsure, they crossed over through a Fey crossing into the prime material plane. And from there, eventually, however many years down the line that would have been, your family sprung forth from that person or people.
To the party, but I think about it a lot, and it's very cool in my mind.
Oh, he's not gonna tell us.
No, I
don't know. Yeah.
I say that it sounds like the Feywild.
Oh, hey, that's like where you're from.
I mean, that's a complicated question.
But you're, a satyr.
And I left that intentionally ambiguous because, Ambrose, I'm genuinely unsure at which point your familial line crossed over. And so
Yeah.
you can let me know on that now or in the future when you decide to make a choice on that.
Oh, that's a question for me. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you get to decide.
Well,
Yeah. Whenever. Not,
Yeah, you don't have to make a snap decision now, but
think about it real hard.
Okay, so the Feywild. How do people cross over from there to here?
Magic.
Bro, I don't know.
I will say, with that check, Ambrose, you know that there are places in the prime material plane, in this world, that are of exceptional natural beauty. And in those places, that is where small bits of the Feywild leak into our world. And they overlay, and that transparency becomes apparent in majestic waterfalls, or glorious desert oases, or beautiful frozen mountain peaks. There's not many of them, but the places where that veil between the material plane and the Feywild becomes thin enough to overlap and be crossed through are called Fey crossings.
We gotta find some sick waterfalls.
Hell yeah.
I hope they get well soon.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm glad you had your thing with the whatever.
Yeah.
Seems great.
God.
Oh, the shade.
Asking if you thought you were cool like 3 times.
I only did it once.
It was kind of the same question 2 different times.
Okay.
Well, does
But
Winchester think you're cool? He was hanging.
Does Winchester think you're cool? Does he hate any of us?
He doesn't. He likes us all.
Insight check.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried because sometimes I feel like he stares a lot at old Kevin here, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to endanger him in the workplace or anything.
Yeah.
Do they like get along?
I mean, I don't think they can talk to each other, but I think they've got a working relationship.
I got a 12 on the insight check in case we think.
It's hard to tell whether or not Bree is being truthful because that's a question Bree doesn't know the answer to.
It's true. Yeah.
Fair.
But you don't know that. You're just having a hard time reading it.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess, came here to hang out with me, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Sick.
That's cool. Sounds like he does think you're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have come all this way otherwise. And you are objectively very cool. So clearly he has good taste.
Wow. I know he can't understand me now, but I'm just gonna say, also Winchester, I think you're cool too.
I'm just imagining all of this coming out of Breeze. Okay, well, we'll let him know that you said that.
As you say that, Winchester just sort of sidles up with his small little talons just further up your neck and gives the sort of top side of your ear where I think you have like almost like a little metal cuff or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of nibbles on that for a second, then sort of pushes his head into yours. You rolled very, very well on insight.
Friends. I love this. I should have done this at the very start of the campaign.
And as nighttime
I sure
begins to fall darker on the area, and you all have the delicious meals prepared for you in small ration packs, crafted by the Barthen family and gifted to you, is there anything else that anyone would like to do, either in preparation for the following day or as a follow-up to anything that might have happened today that you need to take care of or do before you take a rest for the evening? Ambrose.
Can I spend some time, attuning to my wand of magic missiles?
Yeah, absolutely. It takes about an hour and it requires you to be in contact with the object for that full hour. Do you want to describe how that attunement process looks for you?
After eating, I spread all my materials out, and this is what is it? I can't tell what material is it made of.
It's odd because it's hard to tell. It has the hardness of stone, but the lightness of wood, and the feel of glass.
Okay. Giving
Stop
into
it.
my giving into my instincts, I put it in my mouth, close my eyes, and I think really hard for an hour.
Okay. And as goat folk do, learn
Wizard brain.
best about the world by consuming it orally. You place the wand crossways in your mouth and concentrate. And as you do, you think about it, and you feel as the arcana that wraps around this crafted item, created by someone who knows how long ago, and intertwined with a spell to recharge every day with permanence. You feel that tight knot in the weave begin to unravel, and that surrounds your own begin to intertwine and connect. At the end of that hour, you're well aware that from here forth, whatever magic is contained within that object, you will be able to command.
Sick. And that it probably tastes pretty gross.
At the moment, it mostly just kind of tastes like if you chewed on like a wood chip and a little bit of like your own hand sweat from handling it, but
Gross.
all right.
Yeah.
I'll wipe it off.
Nobody washes their hands in D&D.
Oh yeah, if we're about to take a long rest too. I mean, keep going, Ambrose.
Oh no, I'm good.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, well, since I've got my spider staff attuned and we are just kind of trying shit out, I would like to... Let's see. Do I have these spells in here? Yeah, okay. I'm going to cast Spider Climb out of my spider staff on myself to see how good it works.
Sure. And as you cast the spell and utilize your connection with the staff that you had established through that brief visit just earlier this day to the realm that you know to be the offices or business center of your patron, how does that spell look?
I wield the staff and I stare deep into the carved spider on the top of the staff. I stare deep into its glimmering, beady little eyes, and I can feel the magical potential course. And I just kind of like I stare at him like, okay, pal, what can you do for me? And I feel it's like a little bit of like a tiny animal biting me, like on the palm of my hand, with sort of but it's not like, it's only like a minor sting, like maybe you get like a mosquito bite or something. And I feel sort of a lightness rush through my palms and the soles of my feet. And I'm like, the hell was that? And I experimentally
There's a strange stickiness between yourself and the ground around you, and not to Peter Parker you too hard here, but you do experience a very brief learning curve of sort of stepping through the underbrush and shaking off bits of moss and various things from your feet as you learn to attach and detach from the solid objects around you.
And then I climb, like I put a hand on a tree trunk, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm getting this now, yeah!
There's an extra sensation that comes as you leave the ground and begin to rise up the side of this tree as you climb it. And while your feet and hands as they contact the bark are bound there in place, you feel there's something there arcane sort of guiding your back and the rest of your body and preventing it from adding weight to that sort of fragile bit of contact between you and the bark. And you feel like if you let go
hey,
with your
everybody,
hands,
check this out.
You could just stand up straight, perpendicular or parallel to the ground, and just walk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let me tell you, it's going to be very hard not to burn all these spell slots just on this.
Cool! Oleander, pose.
Wow. I do like a sick JoJo pose.
Do like a...
Oh, man, I really
from
shouldn't
the
look down at the
ground,
ground, though. That is very bad.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool shot because just like that last vestige of twilight is descending over, you can see just stars in the top of the frame, and then like sort of very misty mountain peaks in the distance and the tops of the trees, and then just above that on the tallest tree in the foreground you can see the perpendicular like silhouette of Oleander just sort of striking a pose, sticking out from it. It's very sort of cryptid, but also just metal as hell.
Oh, yeah.
World's hottest Sasquatch. Here I come.
Oh yeah, that photo's gonna show up on some forums later.
Cool. So I just sort of like jog back down the trunk of the tree, and I'm like, sorry to take up everybody's time. I just wanted to see how that would look.
It's strange too, because as you do and you jog, you realize that even in the few spaces during that jog when both feet leave the branch, you're still sort of almost gravitationally pulled back to that location.
Interesting.
If you were to jump and choose to leave, you know that you could. But there's that brief bit of safeguard within the spell that pulls you back as both feet leave for a moment.
Can I try one more thing before I'm on the ground?
Sure.
Is there a nearby tree that's kind of like within jumping distance?
As you are sort of up on this one, the nearest one is probably
I'm wondering
maybe
if I
8
could
feet
like
away.
jump off of one tree trunk and land on another.
Sure. If you'd like to try it.
Go for it. I'll heal you if you don't.
Thanks.
We'll call this a acrobatics check.
Okay.
Because I assume what you're trying to do is jump from the vertical surface of one tree and then sort of shift your feet over to the other, correct?
Yes, some Inception shit. I want to
Okay.
see if I can do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say some Mario Galaxy
I
shit.
totally.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
Only-
It's some of that, what's that
Well,
game called? It's like
historically-
where you just like change gravity the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that is a 16.
16. As you leap from the trunk of one tree, you feel yourself caught in space for a minute, and as time sort of slows around you, you begin to panic. And as you fall, you reach maybe 10, 15 feet below the ground as your feet make contact with that other tree. And you feel strange in that hitting that tree feels like jumping out of the side of a moving cart. And you tumble down its branch, hit the ground, not taking any damage, but the momentum was almost preserved in your fall as you hit the ground and continue to tumble.
Okay, that's good.
You
to know
definitely
I can
stuck
do
to
that
the
in an
tree.
emergency.
But yeah.
That looked crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Having
Well,
fun?
let's see any pits try to stop me now, baby.
Wow.
Finally.
Oh my god, the pit problem has been solved after 30
That's what I've been
episodes.
thinking about this whole time.
Amen.
Oh my gosh.
Finally.
I do the same, like crying, like when I see, like the soldier come back, like as it realize, like, yeah.
Amazing.
I did it. I finally overcame my greatest enemy, gravity.
Yeah.
Any other preparations before the night's rest? I will say, Ambrose, if you have any items to identify, there are several among the party that are unidentified.
Oh.
And then, in addition to that, if there's any just sort of talk about the next day's travel you want to make, go ahead and do that, and then we will press on into sort of a montage of the next few days of travel so that we're not doing this sort of nightly thing. I just wanted to get a really good idea of what it's like each night in camp before we blow through a bunch of it.
I would like to find Sister Garely sitting around the fire.
She's sort of sitting cross-legged at the moment. She has her shield sort of off to one side, and she's taken that sort of large fur mantle off and placed it into that, and at the moment is sort of in the process of unbraiding that large braid and combing through it, just next to the fire.
I'm just going to come up and try to kind of meet her gaze and motion to sit down next to her.
Oh, yeah, of course. By all means. What's going on, Glass?
You mentioned Nightstone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spot that was most recently hit. Our sources said that it was cloud giants that sort of swept through the area on some sort of floating tower and just rained large stones down on the civilization. And I'm not sure if it's been confirmed yet, but there was a lot of worry about the leader of that town being killed in the process.
She
Why,
seemed
what's up?
all right.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I missed that because I spoke over you.
She seemed all right.
Oh, did you know her?
I mean, not especially. Just my family is near there.
And
The clans.
before I
lives out
assume you were talking about Lady Nendar, but your family lived nearby to Nightstone?
Yeah. I grew up in the Ardeep Forest, right nearby.
That is exactly there. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
you said your family's there?
I mean, last letter, yeah. Grew up there most of my life. You said something about floating stones. There was a legend growing up, about these floating. I don't know. They just look like giant boulders, giant rocks that would float up above the forest.
I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like what was described by our scouts there. This sort of massive chunk of earth, but it wasn't just a boulder, it was like a full tower constructed on top of it. Maybe 7-8 stories high, and that's giant proportions. So hundreds of feet. And from that, I mean, I don't know the details, but apparently they just threw stones down at the village, and I think, as far as we know, a lot of the villagers got out. There were some bat caves just to the north that a lot of them took shelter in, but that initial attack, that shock and surprise, definitely took some casualties with it.
Yeah.
Was your family in town in Nightstone?
No. I mean, we never lived in town. And we would visit to trade, go out for dinner.
Yeah.
But we built our home in the woods.
I'm
So
sorry,
not ground zero.
I don't know a ton about the area, but if you were in the woods and not in town, I would imagine maybe your family's probably still safe. And I feel like it's better to hope than to assume the
Yeah.
worst, right?
I'm sure they're fine. They've
And
They
she just
know
sort
how to
of
survive.
reaches out with like one hand, and at this point, this woman's traveled with you for the day, and you've been in her presence many times, and her like nearly 7 foot tall stature is something you've kind of gotten used to, but as she sort of just places a hand just on your knee comfortingly, you see that it encompasses like a massive portion of it, and with that you sense the giant blood that lies somewhere deep in her race's history as a furbolg. And she just sort of lays her hand there for a second and says, I'm really, really sorry. That sort of worry isn't something anybody should have to bother with.
imagining that I was kind of sitting with my knees up and my arms like this, and kind of get smaller in that.
As you do the cat thing and sort of pull all of your limbs underneath you.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. Please, I mean, you're with us. I don't know how your magic works. Barely know how mine does, but if you hear of anything from your contacts at Nightstone, just let me know.
I might get in trouble for this, but I was just about to report to Lady Shendril. If you wanted, I could try to reach out to your family for you.
Ooh.
Instead. I mean, that would mean that I have to reach out to Durathra tomorrow, and, I will be running on the road with a little less juice than normal, but if you would like me to reach out to your family, I can certainly try to do that. And you can see that she, at the moment, is sort of fiddling with this piece of copper wire and sort of rolling it around in her fingers.
I mean, what would I? Wouldn't know what to say, and I don't know. I can't help right now. If they needed it.
Okay, that's your prerogative. If at the very least you ever decide that you want some confirmation of their well-being, or just to say a few words, I mean, you can't say them, I have to, but I can reach out for you. Just let me know. Doesn't matter how far away they are.
Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah. They're resourceful. I bet they're doing fine.
And she sort of smiles and looks into the fire for a second, and then sort of glances back to you and is like, "What are they like?"
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, you are, so I imagine they have to be too.
I'm the little one.
Oh.
I mean, it's like, yeah, I spent most of my life sitting and watching. And now I can't shut up,
I'm sorry. It's really insensitive of me to assume that you want to talk about them when you're worried about them. If you don't, it's okay.
No. I think I know in my heart that they're okay.
It's a good thing to know.
If that's worth anything.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'll say a little prayer to tomorrow for them tonight.
I appreciate it.
A little luck goes a long ways.
Yeah. Well,
You're sure, though, because she sort of holds up that copper wire for a second.
God. You know what? I'm maybe soon,
Okay.
and just not now. I just don't know that.
Absolutely. I'm really sorry. I do have to make this contact, though, really quickly.
Oh yeah, no, take your call. You're good. I'm gonna stand up and kind of dust my pants off.
You can tell that she sort of does that thing where she is about to stand up and she just sits back down.
Yeah, no, yeah, right, yeah. I'm gonna go. I just walk away.
The rest of you still sitting around the campfire watches the sister sort of wraps that wire around her finger and then pulls it straight for a moment, and you just hear her say, "Lord Protector, we're on our way. They've agreed to help, but have not yet made a decision as to their allegiances. Everything's good, though. My hopes are high. We hope to see you here in about 3 days." And then she sort of cocks her head and nods. As you can tell, she's sort of listening to some response coming from another place. And then she tucks the wire back into one of her pockets and sort of straightens, pops her back for a second, says, for sleeping arrangements, these tents were gifts for you. I'm happy to sleep wherever. What's the best option here?
Well, I mean, I figure, I guess we'll do 2 people to a 10, and you can take the guest suite if you like. Yeah, that's the third tent. I'm being fancy. It's a thing I do.
That seems super generous, but if that's the way you'd like to do it, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to impose, and you deserve your privacy as a gentlewoman.
She sort of laughs at that and like scoffs for a second. Has to almost like cover her mouth. She's like, I'm so glad you see me that way. And as such, she gathers her belongings and the shield and the fur cloak tucked within it off the ground and makes her way into a tent. And the 4 of you are left alone outside by the campfire as it begins to dwindle and you add some more fire onto there, or some more wood onto it. Anything else anybody wants to do before bed?
I can't believe she got Glass to talk about his family. Nobody's been able to do that.
Did we overhear that conversation?
Yeah, how much of that do we hear?
I figured you were sitting around the fire and I was kind of just interfacing with her.
I would imagine that a little of the reason that you probably were as reserved as you were is that you could sense that other people were there sort of in earshot but not directly paying attention to you. So the rest of you probably heard most of it, I would say. Unless you took some sort of reason to leave and not listen. So as
I'm in the tent now, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like
As darkness falls
God,
completely
that's
and you
wild.
all eventually make your way into the tent, you find sleep quickly. The warmth of the fire from the outside heats the sort of wax exterior of the canvas tents. Yes.
Did we figure out who's gonna be on watch,
I
Robo?
was gonna say I can go and watch first.
Oh yeah.
Is there a watch? That's a great question.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial.
I'll do. Since this is a long rest, we need 2 shifts, right? 3. Okay, I can do the first one.
I'll do the middle one.
I'll do the third. I say that from the tent. I'll be up early.
I will also say that now, because there are a total of 5 of you, if... no, because that still wouldn't work. Somebody would have to take one. Basically, your rests now, if you're keeping a watch and someone is staying up for 4 hours, there's still going to be 12-hour rests instead of the 8 hours you need for a long rest, because someone somewhere in there has to take a watch. And if you want everybody to have a long rest, then you have to take an additional 4 hours of rest to do that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, with that knowledge, Ambrose, you're taking the first watch then?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's taking second, just so I know? Oleander?
Yes.
And
me. Sorry, I just raised my hand.
No, it's
yeah.
okay. I just looked down to take notes for a second. And
Oh, it's cool. It's me.
Cool. All right. Then, as the rest of you make your way into your tents, make yourselves comfortable on the bedrolls and supplies you've been sleeping on for your entire adventuring career, now under the wonderful canvas roofs warmed by the fire next to this mountainside, chilly breeze, small campsite that you've established. It's peaceful, it's quiet. The sound of insects and various night creatures around you sort of fills the air, and the crackle of the fire outside occasionally just sort of pops as the wood settles and burns deeper into the fire. Ambrose, go ahead and make your perception check.
I can do that. Oh shit! I'm dropping everything. It's an 11.
With an 11, you keep your eyes out and you sort of gaze at the woods around you, towards the road that you just pulled off of. And throughout the night, or at least during your 4-hour shift, there are no passersby. There's no disturbances. You hear, at one point, sort of the crackling of a twig somewhere in the distance, and then it reveals itself as some small nocturnal mammal just very briefly visits the edge of your campsite. Its backlit eyes barely visible in the firelight, and then tucks away and scrambles off into the underbrush. But beside that, you're left alone. Is there anything you want to do during your watch?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Other than think a lot about how I never thought about talking to animals before, despite growing up in a very magical area with a lot of animals.
I will say, because you have about 4 hours here for your rest, and I think in the last episode you purchased the supplies that you needed to add spells to your spell book from the shop. If you would like to add up to 4 levels of spells, or up to 8 if they are transmutation spells, you may transcribe some new spells that you have had gleaned from other spell books into your book if you'd like to, and spend the respective cost for such. I'll let you handle that math and that sort of thing. Let me know about that after this rest. But as you conclude your watch, and you go to wake up Oleander and drag her from her slumber in the tent.
God.
Kind of just pull the blanket back, say like, fire!
Ah! Oh, God, fuck! Wait a minute, I'm not scared of fire. I'm a
I
tiefling.
was gonna say,
Hey!
it's your turn.
It's the worst way to wake someone up. Jesus.
We have kind of a manic, just horned people energy.
I always forget that, like, 99% of this part, I think everybody is chaotic something.
Yeah.
It's just intense.
That's what it says on my character sheet. Chaotic something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oleander, as you are awakened from your slumber and take your watch post, and Ambrose sort of scoots in past you through the tent flap, secures it, and finds sleep. Go ahead and make your perception check.
I'm gonna remember that. Oleander will remember this. Okay, that is plus 2 is 17. I'm like a hawk.
Yeah,
Nothing
you
escapes
are.
my notice.
You've had a day. The 4-hour nap has not done much to sort of dissuade you of the fact that no more than 8 hours prior, you found yourself well within the realm of your patron, of your own volition. And you've also watched your party members speak to animals, and you have been given this sort of grandiose quest and this large slew of problems which you are either expected to participate in and or solve. As you begin your rest with your eyes open and glance about, what do you do?
Well, geez, probably if I've got a lot on my plate, I'm probably going to do what any forward-thinking business professional would probably do in this situation. Which is, let's see, let me just check my adventuring kit real quick. Inventory.
The second I put a mobile printing press in a shop, your Oleander is just gonna like mentally nut. It's gonna be great.
That's gonna be all my money gone because I am getting a full stationary set, my friend.
Yes.
Well, I don't actually have any like spare paper on me right now. I try to save what little I can for business cards, so I'm probably just gonna try to scratch in the dirt, kind of a few general notes, maybe like a little mind map, just to figure out like what the hell we're doing, how I'm going to plan my next 3 moves ahead, and if I can possibly see any vectors from which my boss is going to eventually screw me over.
Okay.
Just like
any specifics in there?
yeah, I'm kind of thinking about like stuff I've historically found in the past from my warlock family. Actually, can I do like a check for how much I would know of other warlocks in my families and the kind of deals they've struck with their patrons? Would that be like an Arcana check or a history check?
Sure. I would say, given the nature of that, since it's your family and it is knowledge that you... It would either be history, if it's something that you think is in a written record somewhere that you might have read, or it would be insight if it's something that you would have gleaned from them just sort of by being around them and trying to interpret the way they're talking about their deals to compare it to your own.
Okay. Probably, even though I have the lower stat in it, I think it would probably be insight.
Okay.
Just because
I have a
feels
feeling
more
that a lot of
character.
these deals are probably less spoken about and more inferred.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh man, that's going to be an 11.
Okay. You have a general idea that the nature of your contract is not entirely dissimilar from a lot of those of your family. However, you know that some of your family members do not have the assistance of a familiar like you do. Others have books. Some of them have weapons that are sort of imbued with the abilities and magic of their patrons. But you, and you alone within your family, are one who reaches out to the plane on which your patron lives through the medium of a creature.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Both of your
So-
siblings hold tomes that you know to be intensely magical. And your father wields a very, very powerful sword that he summons and dismisses at will. But you have Kevin.
Yes, I am the one with Kevin.
Whatever blessing
Yeah.
or curse that may be.
I think it's a blessing. He's cool. I mean, it's better. Probably somewhere between like maybe not as immediately like scary as a sword, but definitely more scary than a book. So that's good. Yeah. My guess is like I have to guess.
Oh,
Gonna
you
start
froze
taking
for a
more-
second. Sorry, what did you say? You have
Oh,
to
sure.
guess what?
I have to guess that somewhere down the line, he's going to either take a more active role in demanding things from me or possibly try to take something from me. But I really don't have a lot to my name right now, other than clothes on my back, the stuff in my bag, and the friendships I've gained. Really, the friendships are probably the most valuable thing I have
Right.
right
Because
now.
we're fully under sacrificing all of us.
So that's going to be an interesting conversation if we ever get to that, I guess.
And as your watch concludes, about 4 hours later, of just sort of ruminating over the nature of your connection to the 9 layers of hell compared to that of your family, eventually your watch concludes without any sort of disturbance.
Mhm.
And with that, you know that Glass is up next in your ear.
Okay.
And the sounds of your friends snoring gently in their tents. Ambrose snoring a little less gently than the most.
Good. I'm going to be going into Glass's tent and gently nudging him, saying, "Glass, honey."
I'm already up. Yeah. As soon as I see her, put her ahead of this, I say, I'm up.
Oh, good. Yeah. You know, Ambrose shouted fire when he wanted to wake me up. Can you believe that?
That's fucked up.
You're not
I've gotta
wrong.
find a way to get one over on him.
Yeah. Let's make him pee the bed.
Oh, that's pretty good. Is that like a spell or something?
Hadn't thought that far yet, but
It's not, it
sure.
should be. Let me homebrew
Yeah.
something.
Don't you have command or something?
Are you asking if there's a magical piss the bed spell for warlocks?
Piss.
Because I don't know, but I want to find out.
It's a one-word command.
Oh, they're just like, peace.
Yeah.
Love it.
Uh,
Anyways, Oleander, as you tuck yourself into your bedroll adjacent to Ambrose and find sleep again, hoping to reclaim whatever hours you need to regain whatever health and tiredness you've exhausted throughout the day's activities. Glass, you emerge from the tent, out to the dwindling fire, toss a few more pieces of wood on, and go ahead and make your perception check.
13.
13. Glance around, precursory look at the campground, and all seems exactly as it was when you went to bed, just darker. What would you like to do during your 4 hours here?
I would look around for if there's any trees that are bearing like fruit or seeds or something that's like not edible, but just like kind of big enough to be a ball. And if not that, then like a rock
Okay.
or something.
Make a nature check.
12.
12. There's a pine tree. There's a really big
Alright.
pine cone.
All
Not
right,
really ball shaped, but it'll function.
that's fine. I'm gonna look around to make sure no one's watching, which I assume no one is.
The tent flaps
good
are
roll.
still closed.
Yes. And I'm gonna summon my mage hand.
Yes.
And try to play catch with myself.
Yes!
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. So as you summon your mage hand and begin to just sort of toss this really hefty, like at the bottom it's like grapefruit sized, and at the top maybe more like a tangerine, but like this whole thing is like this big. It's one of those huge fir cones. And you just sort of toss it back and forth and catch it in your mage hand and then toss it back to yourself. Make an Arcana check, just for the sake of it, to see how well you do at this.
Arcana seems kind.
I mean, that's how you control a mage hand, sure.
20.
20. Not a problem. The mage hand has no issues catching and returning this to you, almost with a degree of dexterity that you wish you had in your own body. But controlling magic for you is easier than handling the muscle, sinew, and bone of your own form.
Like your own body.
It's true.
It is true.
Uh,
Stat-wise and math-wise, at least. But yeah, you pass how much time as you just sort of sit here and toss this back and forth? And as you do, what are you ruminating on?
I would say I'm imagining that I would start kind of bad and then get good at it. Get better at it. Learn to feel the heft and how to like use my mage hand because I haven't used it that much. And I'm just thinking about my family and the legends of these floating, structures, floating obelisks.
Make, with that, as you think about that subject in particular, a history check for me.
15.
15. The stories that you've been told about these floating structures that have appeared throughout history over the Ardeep Forest, time and time again, spread out by sometimes 5, sometimes 50 years in between sightings, have sort of a long colloquial history within both your clan and the neighboring elves that inhabit much of the forest, or have for the last 20, 30 years or so. The tales of them waver a little bit in their description, but some describe these sort of floating castles in the sky as the dwellings of powerful wizards, while others, by name, most certainly identify them as the lairs of cloud giants. And this history and the fact that something that has appeared for so long in tale to both you and the people who have lived here in this forest for longer before than you did. The mention of that in the way it has suddenly turned against the denizens of the nearby town that neighbors that forest, Nightstone. It strikes you as odd that something that's appeared and disappeared harmlessly for however many apparitions would suddenly change and take a different course of action, an aggressive one.
I think as I'm thinking about that, I would stop throwing the pine cone back and forth, and then just move to having the mage hand just lob it straight up, and then catch it, and just watch it do that for a while, and then just kind of thinking out loud. Try to like minor illusion it at its like zenith and start making it look like one of those obelisks, my imagination of it.
And so as time sort of slows in your mind a little bit, and this pine cone rises up to the apex of its ascent and hovers in this air for just that brief moment, it flashes into one of these massive sort of almost like the peak of a mountain, inverted and floating in space with a tower rising up from it. And then the illusion vanishes as the pine cone leaves its space and returns to the hand. And again, you reconstruct and rebuild whatever your mind's eye has seen throughout hearing these tales.
And then I think I would like eventually kind of get so into trying to make that image and get kind of afraid of it and like drop it with the mage hand and then just go stop, and that's it.
And as the pine cone clatters to the ground and rolls a few feet and just touches the edge of the fire, a few sparks sort of flit up into the space where the mage hand was just floating, and you watch them sort of ascend into the stars up above. And as the last watch of the night, you have the honor of detecting the day's weather. Go ahead and roll for me.
Honor.
The honor, a D100. I have a new weather table, and I'm excited to use it.
Oh boy.
Ooh, 100 kinds of weather.
It's an oat.
Not a D12. That would make some sort of non-Euclidean weather. Okay. Come on, baby needs a new pair of hail. 33.
3. As those little bits of ashes and small motes of bright orange sparks sort of float into the dusky blue, almost slate-colored dark night sky up above, you detect no stars beyond. Not even a moon, as you realize that around you the only light here is the campfire. Sometime in the night, probably during your rest, heavy clouds rolled in and have blocked out much of the night sky and sort of hover over you in just perpetual total darkness. On the very, very vestiges of your vision, far off to the east, directly behind you and where you came from, you can see tinges of that sort of light blue and sometimes almost seafoam green light on the horizon of the sun somewhere on the far side of the world beginning to rise. But just above that little bit of light hits a hard barrier of dark, dark cloud. And you know that when the sun does rise, it'll be a gloomy day. And as the rest of your watch concludes, is there anything else you'd like to do?
No.
As the sun does indeed rise, just as you were able to tell by glancing at the sky above, it is bright pinks and oranges as it rises for a moment, and then the entire area descends into this cool blue-gray as the sun peers up above the clouds and fills the area with this soft light pox of a very heavily clouded day. And the rest of you wake up from your night's rest. You can all go ahead and take your long rest if you need it. And you begin now the second day of your journey. I will say that that is the last time, at least for this journey, that we will do a full sort of run through of your campsite experience, and we'll just sort of montage through the rest just to, save time, as fun as that is. But from here, as this new day begins, we're going to go ahead and take our break for the evening. And we will be back here in, we'll call it 10 minutes at 8:45, as long as that works for everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you everybody for watching so far. When we come back in 10, we will jump back into the adventure and see what the rest of the trail between Phandalin and Triboar looks like for the adventurers as they continue along with Sister Garrely at their side, and for some, a heavy conscience, and others, a excited sort of view on the companions around them. Cool. We'll catch you all in just a bit. Take care. everybody. Welcome back to the Help Action. We are in episode 30 as the adventurers continue their trek from Phandalin after they've dealt with all the issues there and within Wave Echo Cave, on their way now to Tribor to see what they can do about this supposedly giant artifact buried somewhere underneath one of the central campgrounds of the town. Along the road, they departed immediately and then had a brief moment of introspection where Pri was able to communicate for the first time with both of the mounts for the party, Jesse and Big Rig, and then maybe not quite unexpectedly, Winchester as well. And then the rest of the party just sort of enjoyed some of the new magical benefits that came with the wave of energy that coursed over them while they were in the Forge of Spells that granted them the abilities that they now experience here at level 5. And with that, Oleander decided to climb a few trees. Ambrose added a few new books to his spell book. And Glass came down to brass tacks with Sister Garrely and asked about the nature of the attack on Nightstone, which apparently happened in a town that borders the forest that his family is from. And with concern for his family, tried to glean as much information as possible from the sister. And she went so far as to offer contact, but he declined. And then as the watches went on through the night, no one was attacked. And some personal time was taken to think about the road ahead and the problems that continue to pop up, seemingly out of nowhere, as if acts of God upon the party. And as you wake up and begin your next day here on this road, you have about 3 days left of your journey. And from here forth, especially with travel days, we're going to try to do our best to expedite those. That last little bit is maybe not the last time, but one of the few times where we will really get into detail about what everybody's thinking and talking about at night during camp. Because as we move forward with the expanse of this huge new map that's in front of us, we're going to have trouble trying to do that every night, and it will just become a what do the characters think about every day while they're traveling for months on end podcast, and we don't want that. So as you wake up and begin your journey forward, it is a cloudy, cold day here in the north. And as you unleash Jesse and Big Rig from their respective mounting posts, reluctant as they are to leave the verdant green grass at their feet, you lash them back to the cart, pack up your tents, and begin to travel further down the Tribor Trail. The rest of the day continues in a similar manner to the first, and you are greeted with little resistance. The only problems that greet you along the trail are chill winds coming in from the far northwest and just the general discomfort of being on the trail in a cart for a full 8 hours a day. As you keep the Neverwinter Wood far to your north and off to your left side, as you continue to travel eastward, you eventually reach the sandy, red, iron-infused low hills that you can tell begin that sort of rise and fall in the start of the Badlands, in which you had originally been to not too long ago to investigate the issues at Wyvern Tor. And you know that somewhere in the distance, off to your right-hand side, somewhere in those mountains lies that stack of boulders like this god's cairn set above everything. And just to the other side of that lies the old ruined town of Coneyberry. But you're not there yet. And so as this day continues and then comes to a close, just on the road, making your way forward, is there anything anybody wants to do specifically during this day? Or should we go ahead and move on to camp and then the next day?
At some point, I'm going to very sneakily, just like casually sidle up to Ambrose and sleight of hand that letter like into his pocket or something.
Make a sleight of hand check. Ambrose, what's your
Yeah.
passive perception?
It is 12.
That is your DC.
20.
20.
God.
Oh,
You sidle up to
Oh,
Ambrose.
shit.
Good thing of note, and that's something I should establish each day as we travel, or maybe just in general. Who is the predominant cart driver of the group? In the past, it's been, I think, everyone at some point. But at this point during the journey, who's taking the reins for Jesse and Vigrid?
Well,
I can if
Yeah.
nobody else will.
sure.
Okay. So, Oleander, resuming your role yet again as the driver for the group.
The
You
gay that drives.
get comfortable here on the front
Thank you.
bench seat. Anybody sitting up on the front next to Oleander, just so I know if there's a perception check to be made. In general, if that's your location, I will ask the
Sure.
two of you. Bree?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bree, as you sort of tuck back off of that seat for a moment and turn back to Glass, Ambrose, Sister Garrily, and the large pile of supplies that you keep in the back of your wagon as it trundles down the road, sort of splashing in the few small puddles that are left in the ragged ruts along this long dirt road. You sidle up next to Ambrose. And Ambrose, as you sort of feel Bree just sort of lean into you for a moment and then lean away. Is there anything you want to say or do during this interaction, or are you just sort of ghosting in and out?
I think I just like yeah, just breathe creepily in his ear. No.
Piss.
I will yeah, no, I don't know. I'll just yeah, like lean in and slip the letter into his pocket and just say shorty crew for life.
I mean, not forever, hopefully.
Are you planning on
Getting taller.
getting taller?
Yeah. Wait, what? I turned back from the wheel. Wait, what?
Do you know about my chosen what is it, my school of transmutation?
Yes, but I didn't. Were you gonna?
You
Was
wanna
that
get
why you picked the school? Is to get tall?
I mean, it's not the only reason, but it's a thought. I'm just like shouting this at like Oleander.
We just
We just cracked the Ambrose code.
casually
Yeah.
just
I
yeah.
think the
feel like-
only reason.
I feel like I gazed upon the face of God for a second.
There's other things like, the pursuit of knowledge and all that, but it's, the
No.
added benefit. that
Oh
comes
my
along.
God! You can't even wear platform shoes. I completely understand now. Oh,
Thank you.
I wish you the best on your journey. I hope you can grow up to become a minotaur or something someday.
Something. We'll figure it out.
Sick. I'm all for that.
Would maybe more goat would come out of the bottom and you turn into a centaur or something? A goat tar?
Oh, I don't know.
Goats. This-
And scene.
Yeah, that's what we thought about for the rest of the day.
So, yes, you have successfully supplanted this letter, long overdue for Ambrose, somewhere into his coat pocket, which, Ambrose, at some point you may notice, that point is up to you as a player.
Hmm.
And as you continue to roll down the road, there's brief stints of friendly conversation and then long sections of silence, but being among people that you have been with for so long, or feels like so long, you look back at it and all of you think at some point during this ride, it's really only been several weeks since you first left Neverwinter. When you were there in the city square as Sildar and Gundren rode up to you. And then you departed immediately to find Gundren's finger in the road. But that passage of time has felt like ages. and as you continue along the ride. Is there anything anybody else wants to do during today's drive before we go into the next day? Okay.
I mean, I have an idea of stuff to talk about, but nothing to necessarily do.
No, that is absolutely included. Talking about is included in do. If you have any conversations or any questions you have for party members, Garrily, the horses, if you're speaking to animals, I don't know.
I was actually going to make small talk with Sister Garrily because, like, you know, I know all these knuckleheads. I've been through hell and back with them. But how did I gotta say that seeing her pull out a bunch of sick ass fighting, it was a big surprise. How did she get into the whole into her whole deal? Like, how did she fall into the whole Harper's thing?
Well, I'm trying to remember that far back. After I left Luskin, I headed down the trail with my mother for a little while. And then we lived in the Neverwinter Wood for a small period of time, just the two of us. And then after that became untenable, we moved into Neverwinter, and the two of us started a Shrine of Good Luck there. And that shrine eventually became a spot where we met our friends and talked with them and chatted with them, and then we kind of were led into the fact that a lot of those friends happened to be Harpers, and they were using our shrine for a meeting place. And then, long story short, that got decimated when Mount Hotenow erupted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I got invited back to rebuild it, but I didn't really want to, but I loved their cause, so I just sort of linked up with them. But yeah, I mean, I did a brief stint of like really, really intense field work for them, and I did not like that at all, so I just sort of asked for a more reclusive post for a little while I figured things out, and that landed me in Phandalin as, I guess, a listening post, if you will. And it was divine for a long time. I built another shrine there, and then it was nothing but mountain air and kind of goofy townsfolk for a long time until the Red Brand showed up, and obviously y'all shortly thereafter, and dealt with them, and here I am with you.
Wow. You've been through a lot.
I mean, yeah, at my age, you kind of get to see a lot.
That's really cool.
Make a history check for me, Oleander.
Okay. That is a 13. 13 to history check.
Looking at a thing really fast. Mount Hotenow, which she mentioned, the large volcano that sits just to the north of Neverwinter, and its sort of geological activity is what gives that city its warmth. The sort of constant heat of the soil and its ability to grow crops and sustain people with a bizarre disregard for the harsh winter climate around it. That erupted in 1451, and that was nearly 30 years ago.
So she's older than she looks.
At the very least, if she had built and maintained a shrine there for a while before that erupted, considerably.
Well, traveling in polite society has taught me never to ask a woman's age. But that is considerably interesting.
If you ever want to I guess, know anything about the last chunk of history.
I would love to. I admit, personally, I am not too proud to admit that my knowledge of the world outside of the, shall we say, the bell jar of BG City's magical society is a bit lacking, shall we say, in places.
It's a beautiful place, but it is... Despite all the people, all I've learned from being around big cities is that they're just as isolated as anywhere else.
You can say that again. But yeah, I'd love to pick your brains more sometime about.
Of course, and you said
stuff
so. You're from BG City.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate.
I've never
you
said that
know.
before. It feels funny, but you're from the Gate.
The Gate, yeah, you know, the big hole.
I've never heard it called that, but I love that.
I'm gonna call it that now.
Yeah, me too.
There's even worse names for it. Trust me. But
your family, I mean, I've inferred as much that they're wealthy. They're among the patriarch class there?
yeah, it's a little bit of a weird arrangement.
I thought the only folks allowed in the upper city were humans.
Yeah, we're a bit of a special. How much do you know about the whole tiefling thing? The whole why we kind of look like demons.
And
there
at
was,
this,
like,
she's
a
just sort of like
deal.
leans forward, and you can tell that she's like intensely interested. She's like, nothing at all. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. Well, this is kind of a thing. So, about a zillion yonks ago, a bunch of enterprising individuals decided to make a deal with Asmodel. Was it Asmodeus or Asmodel?
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, thank you. Decided to make a deal with Asmodeus for power, wealth, and influence, as well as deep understanding of magical abilities.
Is
In
that where you get your
exchange-
power from?
Well.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. You keep freezing. You said well
But
and
you
then something
freezing
else.
very
Not
opportune.
necessarily. The internet's having a little bit of a hiccup tonight, but it's fine. No, well, what he did was he kind of turned those people into. He remade them in his image, so he kind of turned them into demon-looking type people, and that's where the tieflings started. And it was 9 families who made a deal with him, and the Ruse were one of those families. So we're like old ass.
Oh, wow.
Tiefling. I don't want to say like. I guess you could use the term aristocracy. We're like a big name, you know. We're like people. We're like
I
a
mean-
known quantity.
I have heard the name before. I guess I didn't want to assume.
Yeah, I'm kind of the white sheep of the family. But yeah, no, we don't necessarily like we kind of, but not all of us are necessarily devoted to Asmodeus. Certainly, that's the very standard path that's encouraged. But some of us have other patrons. Some of us, decide to experiment more. We've just been kind of we try to endeavor to stay in the mix with sort of the thaumaturgical and socio-political goings-on in a magical nexus such as Baldur's Gate. But yeah, no, it's really.
I'm curious. And I'm sorry if this seems blunt, Oleander, but do you like me? Not like in a weird way, but I mean like I worship a deity of the upper planes to whom I am entirely devoted. whereas you have a deal with, I think, the way you've talked about it, some sort of deity or demon lord from the lower planes. And
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
I hold no reservations. I've dealt with many in my time, but I'm so used to, I suppose, people of your faith. I don't know if you call it a faith. Just disagreeing with me on principle.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. First off, like I said, I'm a little bit of an outlier with my whole crew.
You seem
but,
very different from any other demon worshiper I've ever met.
Yeah, it's
Whoa.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's you don't have to be shocked. That's what it is. Yes, essentially. I don't know if I'd use the word worship, more of a
Serve?
business agreement. It's a contractual obligation. I am.
Okay.
Framing device.
Yeah.
I think I have like a contract with Tamora.
a gig of some sort. Long-term career path.
And as you dwindle into the sort of comparisons between a cleric's servitude to a god and a warlock's business-like contractual bond to pay
the
a
word you're looking
patron.
for is unholy pact.
That's right. As those comparisons begin to sort of fly across the wagon, but find no resistance in the middle, you do come to find that the sister is bizarrely open-minded for the religious sort, but at the same time, bazonkers fanatical and wholly dedicated to her god.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
So,
that's fine because it takes all types. I think that's fantastic, and you should absolutely worship whoever you want.
She's the
I
church
kind-
horse girl. You're coming
Yeah.
to realize. Tommy, you were
I-
going to say something. Sorry, Glass.
I was going to say she sounds like a Young Life recruiter.
Oh, young life, baby!
Amazing.
Hey guys, what's happening? Pretty
I'm
cool.
going to go ahead and pull up the map just so we can see sort of where we've gone so far. And because we haven't done this quite yet, now you have a good visual of that, and I'll make sure that the stream gets to see that in
Yes.
big ol' HD. There we go. Cool.
Nice.
So you have traveled from get the Le Apple Pencil here. We don't say brand names. We're not holding any brands here. You have traveled from
What's
so
the
far.
brand?
Brands don't exist.
It's from cow butts.
I have special
Traveled from Phandalin now. Down this road and
Ah.
along this. And you now, as your second day of travel begins to end, are about here-ish. I'll zoom in on this sort of area that you've traveled so far. As your day begins to conclude and the sun begins to set, you make camp. You gather your things, prepare your meals, set the horses aside, pitch your tents, and all find rest, and assign the watch to the various members of the party as you see fit. And as such, you experience another cool night of restful sleep and uninterrupted watch. As you begin the next day, if there's any preparations you'd like to make, go ahead and do that. I need somebody for me to please roll a D100 for the day's weather.
I can.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ambrose.
Oh, there it is.
0-0.
100.
That's a 100.
Oh, is it?
You
Is
roll
it
the-
is
you
it a
roll the two
0
dice.
and a double 0, or is it just a 0 and a 0?
It's.
Okay, so then you roll another.
Yeah, you gotta roll the.
Oh,
two
sorry.
dice.
So
gotta roll
you roll the one
dice.
with a single digit, and you roll the one with a double
Oh.
digit, and that replaces the ones and the tens digit. So go ahead, and just roll a regular D10 for me on top of that.
My brain is huge like planet. 3.
Okay, so the total's at 30 then. Let me go ahead.
no, it would be a. Wouldn't it be a 3?
It'd be a 3.
It would
With
be
a 0, 0, and a 3.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm mixing up the places. It is a 3. Consulting my dungeon master
You like
Dean.
burn to death.
Out of your carbon.
As you proceed, those heavy clouds overhead, just before you're about to make camp, break. And with it bring heavy flurries of snow. And as the snow begins to fall, you all realize that tonight, when you make camp, the snowfall will be heavy enough that you need to make sure that you have a clear path back to the road, or else it may be lost under the snowfall.
Got it.
And as it falls heavier and heavier, just because it's fun, I'm going to turn on some snow on the map.
Ooh.
There we go. Oh, it's beautiful. Wow.
Oh, wow. Ooh,
And from here, as you rest, and then beginning your next day, you wake up, and the entire area around you is blanketed in this beautiful, untouched white blanket of soft white snow. I need someone else to roll another d10 for me, please. Actually, Ambrose, roll one more d10. That's more
Okay.
fun.
Seven.
In 7 inches of snow.
Oh!
Oh.
Holy shit.
Oh!
I am turning Winchester into wolf form, and we're just... He's doing the, like, jumping up, like, straight up and into the snow.
I love it. As you all awaken and emerge from your tents, you push aside a good half foot of snow and look around the campsite. The fire long since snuffed out by the heavy snowfall that's landed here, and all the trees around you blanketed in these heavy cloaks of white. And even your tents themselves are sagging under the weight of this fat, just sort of puffy marshmallow of snow that sort of curves over the top of it. And in certain
Leave the
areas,
tent.
you can see the spots where bits of snow have sort of fallen off, or seeds or small animals have made their path through all of this fresh snow around you. But as you wake up this next morning, it is a bright and clear, fresh snows day, and you have a long ways to go ahead of you. The snow doesn't look deep enough to deter either the horses or the cart, but it will make maintaining the road a little more difficult as long as it lacks any sort of geographical difference from the surroundings.
Hmm.
So,
Alright.
Trying to figure out if I can solve this problem with magic.
You can't Eldritch Blast snow away.
What?
Yeah.
But it's a force spell. It should shoot it right out of the way. It should be fine. Also can push it 10 feet.
so as you wake and bundle yourselves up in your heavy winter clothes and begin out on your journey for the next day, you travel, and the horses' hooves crunch through the heavy snowfall, and the wagon wheels continue to turn, and you enjoy whatever conversation there is that is not interspersed with the chattering of teeth. And you push forward until this bright, almost blindingly bright, white snowfall just plain out in all directions finally falls to darkness and ends the salt on the back of your eyes. You reach an area where the road begins to crest up over the top of a hill, and once you reach that area, it is just about nightfall and probably time to find another spot to rest. As you do so, Tommy, or Les.
Sorry. Just, I'm both. Just for flavor during today's ride, I would be making snowballs as we're riding, and throwing them out to the back of the cart and trying to hit them with firebolt and inviting anyone to join me in target practice.
Hell yeah.
As
So
we're-
as the rest of you watch as Glass is just sort of packing these ever-present and continually refilling ammunition of snowballs that just land on this cart, as you pick one up, the snowfall is quick enough that you could not make and throw snowballs fast enough to possibly clear the cart of snow. And you throw them up and just lash out at them with bolts of fire that incinerate them and turn them into this small clouds of steam. Anybody else want to join in this target practice with any of your weapons or other spells?
I mean, if Bree wants to drive for a little bit, I'd love to dust the old EVs off.
Yeah.
And you also watch as Sister Garalee joins you in just sort of leaning back in the cart and sort of tucking her giant braid around her neck like a scarf, just sort of looking at them as they go up into the air and snapping her fingers, and you watch as they sort of explode in these blasts of radiant light.
Cool.
Ooh, operating.
Neat.
Wow.
This is super fun. I don't think I've had a cart ride without being bored in I don't know how long.
God. That's really-
Snowmen fear us.
Are you like targeting them, or is it just sort of like the will of Gamora?
Tamora. But
Tamora.
I'm
Yes.
targeting them. Snow lacks the facilities to dodge this, so it's pretty easy to hit him.
It's nice. So hit scan instead of projectile. I get you.
This
God.
is, and she like sort of snaps her fingers again, and you watch as a small like little pine tree that's over there just immediately poof, and this small clearing of snow forms around it, and snow just sort of and rains down around it. She says, this is really helpful in case something's harassing you from behind cover, because they can't hide from this.
Smart. Pretty great. And I bet it's great for shoveling driveways.
Anybody proficient in Arcana, make an Arcana check.
Oh, okay.
I can do that.
I actually am pretty good with Arcana too. Let me do it.
Yeah.
Checkarino. Oh my god, I got a good roll for once.
Oh,
I got a 24.
I got a 21. You beat me for once.
Holy
Wow.
shit. Ambrose, this is impossible.
You have seen
Wow,
this
it's more
magic,
Ambrose.
the both of you, from other people who practice holy magic or divine magic. Yours, both of yours, is magic that is derived from the arcane and just a connection between yourselves and magic, whereas divine magic uses an intermediary of a god or another deity to sort of bring this upon. This is just a simple cantrip, Sacred Flame. And it is where you
Cool.
call down just a very, very tiny sneeze of a god, a vestige of it, to smite something at a distance.
Sick.
Nice.
Cool.
Cleric stuff. Cool. You continue, you rest, you wake up the next morning. Weather roll, please.
I can take it this time.
Go for it.
Not me. Not me.
That's gonna 84.
84. Excellent.
The sky explodes.
Yeah.
The next day, as you wake, there is still snow around you, but it is melted down to small chunks and drifts and mostly just muddy puddles in the dirt. As clear blue skies rise ahead of you. And you know that the journey of the last distance that you make here along the Tribor Trail should be relatively clear.
Heck yeah.
As you resume your journey, headed down sort of this hill that you crested just before rest and down again, you eventually approach a familiar stretch of land. The horses brace their hooves on the downslide against the downhill path, and in the last several miles, many of you have noticed that the trail itself has gone from a dirty brown mixed with the snow into this warm, rich, iron-infused red color that very much matches what little you can see of the Badlands and the rocky terrain off to your south and your right-hand side, where Wyvern Tor lies somewhere just to your southeast and just behind you. Or southwest, pardon me. Ahead, you can see that the road, again, just crests a very small rise, and as your cart reaches that, you peer out over, now, the snow-dusted and eerily beautiful town of Coneyberry, a place where you'd once visited to trek through it and then visit Agatha's lair. And as all the fieldstone bases of homes that were once here and bits of burnt wood now covered in snow melted off and just wet sort of lean against it, you are reminded of whatever it is that took place here, and the occasional tall sort of gangly chimney rising out of the ruins reminds you that in some places the masonry was too defiant to fall to whatever fire besieged this place.
Wow.
And you hear
I
Sister
wonder how our
Carolee.
old friend Agatha's doing.
You just hear Carolee say, "The sight of this place always unnerves me. Because this was a human civilization, but this was done to it by other human tribes. I mean, the North has seen its share of scourges in its time, but I don't know. I feel like the history books just consistently fail to mention humans. For all the wonders it's wrought and the wonderful people I've met among it, and trust me, there have been many, it seems like humankind has equally brought with it so much destruction. I mean, especially against itself.
Yeah. They're pretty good at destroying things.
I'll only say this because we're in a circle of trust here in this cart.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry if any of that. And she just sort of stops talking for a second, covers her mouth.
Oh, I was going to say, humans are a real piece of friggin' work. The reason you probably don't hear about them pull this shit is because they're the ones writing the history books. Think about that. Elves. That's different because they're older than people.
And
Maybe
those of
also
you
what's
proficient in
yeah.
history do recall that Coneyberry itself, especially the last time you came through and sort of discussed this, was sacked by a massive, angry tribe of human barbarians that sort of swept in and laid the town to waste and spared very, very few.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Ambrose.
I honestly don't remember if we did this history check last time we were here. Do we remember why they sacked the town?
Make a history check.
Oh, yeah. It's 21.
The barbarians of the north are a volatile people who frequently seek to reassert control over areas they may have once controlled, or simply try to drive other civilizations off of their borders. The why here is kind of like asking a dog why it scratches behind its ear. It just sort of is their nature.
Jeez.
I don't know if I believe in that inherent.
Maybe not inherently among all tribal peoples, but in particular, this area, the leadership, particularly of the barbarian tribes, is warlike and aggressive. Maybe not so all the people, but definitely the people who make the decisions are.
Yeah.
I'm like doing like the math lady face, trying to figure out how I can put like my hatred of capitalism into this, and trying to think like, okay, well, why do they want to do this? Is it because of money?
Listen, you can try to ascribe economics to this, but at the end of the day, the only people you can trust less than humans is other tieflings. If any of my experience has anything to prove.
Gosh.
If anything, Ambrose, I would say from this, you glean that while you have a hatred of the organization of the larger cities and capitalism and all of the woes that it has brought upon the realms, there is still somewhere deep within the history of those people who have existed for a long time a desire for chaos among some peoples. Not all, but some. And that chaos is externalized and expressed through these what seems like random acts of violence or assertions of dominance and power among people who settle too close to things they shouldn't.
I can vibe with watching chaos. But anyway, in our little ride,
You continue for a little longer, down a long stretch of road, and as you keep the Neverwinter Wood to your left and the red iron-infused hills to your right, you trundle eastwards towards Tribor. And the vista here is not new to your eyes, but seeing it for the first time covered in snow, or at least the melting vestiges thereof, is beautiful. And the rocky crags to your south jut out in these heaps of like this red sandstone, interspersed with the occasional frost-covered cacti and sort of snow-dusted pine. And then some small stands of juniper. And in the distance, you can see that the red rocks that form sort of the foothills of this whole area have been shaped by eons of wind and water into these bizarre shapes. In some areas, it's smooth and wrought with these small waves like sand dunes of solid stone, and in others, floodwaters have shaped and sort of carved the stone into these vast teetering towers that seem like they should fall over, but they don't. And on the distant horizon just behind you, despite the snow that sits on it, today is clear and you can see just that barely visible vestige of Wyvern Tor far, far behind you. And as you continue, you eventually reach an area where you dip low enough in altitude that Wyvern Tor dips out of sight. And the last bit of visual information that you have to tell you where you are is gone, and you are on wholly new road in an area that you've never been before. And you can see up ahead of you a stand of trees that the road passes through just before descending a few hundred feet. Over a few miles, this clear day lets you see a long swath of this as it very slowly grades downward as you have sort of reached the pinnacle of this pass and are now beginning to return down into another large basin or valley. You continue forth with your cart and enter into the very start of this stand of trees as majestic pines stand on either side of you. And the call of birds and the chitter of woodland creatures, despite the cold weather, brings all of you a sense of peace. And as you trundle forward, slowly, the clop of the horse's hooves and the muddy water created by the snow melt, I need Oleander, if you are driving the cart, and Bree, if you are sitting next to her, unless this order has changed, to make perception checks for me.
Okay, that is a 18 for me.
Okay. When you first entered this glade, that sound of forest around you was warm and welcoming. You could hear squirrels and woodpeckers and various birds and creatures sort of burrowing through what little snow there was. But now, 20 minutes or so in, you reach a point where those sounds of nature have stopped. And now you sit here for a moment, and the only thing that you can hear is the creaking of trees in the wind, what little there is, and a light breeze through the pine needles. And up ahead, as you glance down the trail in the direction that you travel, there's a patch of sunlight at the base of some trees, and you can see mixed in with the snow and the dirt of this now completely red path that you are on. Fresher, redder, more orange and more iron-filled dirt that looks like it's been freshly upturned and is immediately reminiscent to your mind of those badlands that sit just to the south of you, but here in the middle of the road.
So I'm sorry, this is like a pile of dirt in the middle of the road?
I will do this.
Show us a pile of dirt.
Dirt.
Normal. Does it look? It looks like it's been dug up.
It looks like it's been disturbed recently. Like this is dirt that lies below the surface, and despite the temperature and the hardness of the ground that you know to be has been pulled up from underneath and spread across the ground in various locations. And unfortunately, I was not able to make a map that had bits of white on it because I didn't know what the weather would be, but imagine if you will. As the cart continues down the path and you see these sort of red splotches of dirt and areas of loose upturned rock and dirt, in some cases piled somewhere between 6 and almost 36 inches high of just mounds of this red dirt. What do you want to do?
Does anybody find these piles of dirt strange? Also, it's quiet, and at the risk of sounding cliche, it's a little too quiet.
I got an idea, and I'm gonna put my fingers to my temple, and I'm gonna cast augury.
Okay.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
So I'll just. Do I ask a specific question? I receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about a specific course of action. I'm just going to think about, kind of us continuing down this path.
Okay. As you do, please for me sort of describe how this spell takes place. And we'll proceed.
I will kind of, pressing my fingers to my temple, visualize and suppose in the kind of minor illusion fashion that I do, in a series of flashing images, kind of like show what we're going to be, what we would be doing, as it just continuing down this trail, looking around this space.
Okay.
And it would give me, wheel low, or wheel in low, or nothing.
Sorry, just looking at the spell really fast.
Sure.
As you consider approaching ahead and reach out to whatever it is that answers you through the circlet that you wear, you immediately have this sense of ice cold dread begin to grip the back of your neck, and you feel a chill travel down your spine, and all of your fur on all of your limbs alights on end for a moment, and whatever sixth sense cats have is instantaneously turned on to the highest level within you.
Something bad's coming, team.
Okay.
Should we stop?
Does it... I can stop, I can pull off here.
I think that's maybe a good move. I think we just need to be ready.
Is it the dirt? Is it mean dirt?
I don't know that much. I just got a bad feeling, and which is to say, I received a bad feeling. I don't just have one.
Yeah.
It was
You
given.
magically have a bad feeling.
I have a magically bad feeling.
Those are
Oh.
important.
As you peer up ahead, you can see that this disturbance in the dirt that you have just passed continues well beyond your line of sight and far along in the forest here. What would you like to do?
I will. I'm gonna go ahead and draw my bow, and I'm going to creep up on one of the kind of upturned piles of dirt and just.
At the moment where you've sort of slowed the cart down to a crawl or altogether stopped, I'm not sure which. Are you stopped or are you going? Oleander, you're
We're
driving.
stopped. I've pulled the reins. We're currently parked.
Okay. So as you stop, Bree, you leap off. Let me go ahead and swap some people around because I need to make sure that everybody's where they belong here. Bree, you were there. Garrelly was in the back. Winchester's there. Kevin is chilling on the cart, but I have him there for the moment. You hop off just to the side of the cart where you were and land boots down in red dirt.
Nothing's moving in the dirt.
Make, because you are standing in it, an investigation check.
5.
As you peer at it, you see the occasional snowflake sort of land. But beyond that, the dirt itself is still. Even though at one point, sort of in the center of this mass, you can see an area where the dirt sort of forms an area that looks like it may go deeper into the ground. Almost this sort of cracked opening in the earth from which this dirt has been expelled.
I feel like something came out of the ground here.
Can I
Embers.
peek over the side of the cart and take a look around? Maybe listen.
Sure. As you peer over the edge, make a perception check for me.
That's a 12.
You sit for a moment and listen, and it's easy to do so here because that silence that has sort of encompassed the forest is deafening. And so as you tune in for a moment to just the creaking of the trees and the wind that's blowing through it, you very, very faintly pick up on an additional sound. This
Well,
a distant clicking. Also, tell me if you heard any of that because last time we had trouble
did.
with the noise thing. Okay.
Oh yeah,
We heard it.
Yeah.
It was good.
I hear a
it was
I
creep.
hear a clicking. Everyone.
The rest of you, with a passive perception above 12, all hear it as well.
Oh,
Sister
boy.
Carolee just sort of straightens up in her seat and looks around and says, "Did you all hear that?"
Yeah.
Yup.
What is that?
I was hoping you would know.
I do not. But I think it would be best if we were on our defenses.
Yeah.
Especially after whatever it is you said about... Did you say anything about your augury result, by the way, to the party?
Yeah. That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. I got the bad feeling.
The bad feeling.
Magical
I
feeling.
think I feel
Bad
bad
vibes.
about this too.
Yeah, well, I cast a spell to feel how I felt, but um,
Should we keep going and keep our eyes peeled?
let's try to get these horses away from this. Red
Yeah,
dirt.
let's get these horses away from this dirt.
Yeah.
Maybe can I just like walk in front of the cart for a while and just kind of scout ahead of the horses as we go?
Yeah.
Sure. So, Bree, you're moving yourself up ahead of the horses here.
Yeah, me and Winchester.
Okay.
And I'll follow behind at a slower pace to match Bree's walking speed.
I'll scoot you up one just so
Well,
you're aware.
I'll drive the cart at a slower pace.
Oh, okay. So you're proceeding with the
Yeah,
cart.
no,
not
I'm
pulling
driving the
over.
cart still, but
Okay.
I'm making sure to keep pace with Bree. I'm not like
Yeah,
overtaking
we're
her.
going slow.
No, yeah.
Ambrose, do you want to look out the back and I'll kind of be ready out the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're I can keep an eye on the left side of the road and you can keep an eye on the right.
Yeah, and if the sister wants to take the rear, we could really use some of those little magic finger snaps maybe real soon.
Bree, as you jump off of the cart and proceed forward with Winchester, you come to another pile of this red dirt in front of you, in the center of the road, and just up ahead of you, an area where it sort of cascades along the road at an angle. But it's not dirt that's upturned, it's just areas where the road itself has been buckled upwards, as if something traveled through it quickly, just below the surface. As you glance down at the patch of dirt just below you at your feet, make an investigation check for me.
13.
13. You look down, and in the sort of pitfalls and various areas of depth that sit here, there is snow water, mud, and a third liquid that, as you glance at it, you can hear this almost fizzling sound. And it has this light, almost chartreuse, bright green coloration to it, and the hissing that emanates from it as it begins to just slowly descend into the dirt, eating away the earth below it, you recognize as something caustic and dangerous.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Sugar. I just had a terrible thought.
In the cart
Yeah.
back there?
You want to share with the class?
Yeah, so I was worried at first this was something coming out from the ground. But what if this was something, if there's acid involved, maybe we're talking stuff that's coming from above, that's burning parts of the landscape away while it's trying to find the lowest point.
Make a perception check for me, Oleander.
I have to be blessed with a dirty 20 on that roll.
All right.
You look around for a moment, keeping the hypothesis of these areas of red dirt are craters from acid sent from above. But as you look, you can see that the dirt that's been buckled upward by something traveling under it, and the piles of dirt that have been cast aside, these are excavated, not imploded.
Weird.
Would
Okay. Well,
Oh, sorry.
Ambrose.
no, it's fine. It's just
Oh,
throwing spaghetti at the wall.
I was gonna say, would I know anything about this combo of something traveling underground and acid? That'd be a stretch.
Make a nature check. What are you trying to discern? Is this an animal? Is this like a spell somebody casts? Is this what are you trying to? What are you thinking?
Trying to figure out if there is some kind of aggressive animal.
Okay.
around.
Make a nature check or history if you probably thought you read about it in a book somewhere.
I mean, I did hear the clicking, so it might be a nature check.
You did. So go for nature.
Okay. 19.
19. You look around with the upturned dirt around you. And that clicking sound returns for a brief moment. From a different direction. And from a different direction. And from a different direction. And you first sense that whatever is creating that has surrounded you. And second, sense that whatever it is something that possibly uses this caustic substance that I'm assuming you, Bree, had already reported back to the group because that's what you were making your check based on, is something that has come up from far underground that possibly uses that acid to burrow.
Oh, great.
I think we need to get the horses out of here as soon as possible.
And as you mention them, you watch as Jesse and Big Rig, almost in unison, just sort of rear up and make this horrible, terrified horse sound and begin an attempt to bolt. Oleander at the reins, make an animal handling check. Something has spooked them. You're unsure of what. This is all happening in very, very slow time, just so everybody knows.
Shit, that's a 7.
Okay. Everyone that's still on the cart, Oleander, Ambrose, no, you looked over it. Oleander, Ambrose, Glass, and Sister Garrely as well. I need dexterity saving throws as the cart immediately ascends into maximum speed, headed directly down the path. In the direction of you and Winchester Bree.
Oh,
Dexterity check or saving throw?
Oh no! I got a 1!
I got a 1 too.
Oh no!
Plus my dexterity, it's a 3.
No, it's a 1. It's a 1.
It's a 1.
Crit fail.
There's no crit fails on ability checks, but
Oh, okay.
still,
Well,
it's
then I
bad.
got
It's
I got
still
a
bad.
4. I got a 4.
Glass, what did you have?
18.
18.
Sorry,
As the cart lurches ahead and all of you feel the bottom half of your bodies sort of yanked out almost from under you, Oleander, you tumble backwards into the cart, collide into Ambrose, and the both of you slam into Glass, who manages to hold on. But Glass, I need you to make an athletics check to see if you can dig your claws into the wood of the cart hard enough to support the two friends who have just crashed into you. As the cart lurches forward, horses stampeding directly at you and Winchester Bree. I need the two of you also to make dex saves to get out of the way in time. 12. You latch on with your claws, hold on for just long enough to pull yourself out of the way as Oleander and Ambrose topple backwards out of the cart. Bree, Winchester, dex saves. What were they?
Winchester got a 17. I
Jumps
got
out
a
of the way
9.
just in time. You got a 9. You do
Yeah.
not. As the cart proceeds at a rapid pace ahead of you, tears off down the trail, carrying Sister Garrely and Oleander. Sister Garrely and Glass still clinging to the back of it as Ambrose and Oleander are left in the dust behind it. I need to take a second to move some things here, so pardon me.
It's one of my worst stats.
Oh my gosh. No, this is good. Something good is happening.
Yeah.
Has it? Has it?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, Evan, that's putting the cart before the horse.
Boo!
But I'm.
That was terrible. With this, I will give you inspiration for that because I am a kind and wonderful person. Bree, you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as the hooves of Jesse and or Big Rig, whichever one is on the left-hand side, do trample over your calf briefly. You pull it out of the way and it just sort of barely snips the front half of your shin bone, leaving you with this like horrible dead leg. And as the cart tears off with glass stuck to the back of it and Sister Garrily right next to you, I need everybody to go ahead and roll for initiative, and then I will get into the description of what the fuck is going on right now. And what it was that spooked the horses.
Okay. I got a 17.
Give me just a quick moment here. Put you all in combat here. Cool. Oleander with a 17. Ambrose.
I got an 11.
11. Bree in Winchester.
We both also got 11.
11. Okay, I'll just let you all share a turn. Kevin.
What about Kevin?
Oh, Kevin, yeah.
Also, Kevin is in what form at the moment, so I know?
He's in his ferret form right now.
And I'm assuming
he got an 11 as well.
Okay, he is with you then, tumbled off the cart with you. Oh my god, everybody has an 11. Glass.
7.
7. And then Sister Garrily with a big fat 3.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
y'all.
As the cart tears off and you search for the sign of whatever it was that spooked your horses, you look over into the dirt pile that no more than a few moments ago you, Bree, had been glancing into, and you see something emerge. First, this long sort of tendril, this bony edifice just sort of reaches out of the ground and like a scythe snaps into the ground, followed by another and another and another as this creature sort of pushes its way out of the ground with this long, elongated, for all intents and purposes, this looks like one of the children of Alien in a Ridley Scott film, as it comes out with these horrible fangs and this long, swept back skull and just hisses at the group of you and begins to approach. It is followed by another and then a tiny one. The other that pops up is just ahead and to the left of the cart of horses. I will go ahead and put that into combat here and make sure that I'm on the right thing. There's one. And then there is the other. And then here is the baby.
Oh, the baby.
Oh, the baby.
Oh, but the baby.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and roll. We already rolled for initiative, so we're just starting combat here. At the top of the order, it is the tiniest of the bunch that is going to rush in the direction of the nearest person. Let me get on some scary tunes here. I need scary tunes.
Oh, I love my scary tunes.
You know, I love my scary tunes. As this one is going to now rush up, and let me make sure that everything is good here on the stream as far as where we want it to be. Yes, it is, but I am going to, just for the moment of this battle, take
my little squeam
the chat box and just make it poof away for a quick moment while we fight. Because now everybody should be able to see the initiative order and pictures of these terrifying things on your screen.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
as this tiny baby skitters across the ground directly in your direction, Ambrose, being the closest. As it skitters over to you, it is going to attempt to take two of its long pointed claws in the front and just stab it through your leg just below the knee.
Ow.
With a 16 to hit.
Ooh, that hits.
That hits, and as it does, you suffer 7 points of piercing damage as it stabs into your leg, and then sort of backs away and skitters backwards for a moment, and then skitters back towards you. Its mouth open and just hisses in your direction. Oleander, you are now up. What would you like to do? You are, at the moment, prone on the ground next to this. Oh, I guess that would have been with advantage because you were prone too. I rolled 2d12s instead of a d... Yeah, we're good. It didn't nat 20 you and still hit.
No.
Oleander, what do you want to do?
Okay, well, first, I'm going to stand up.
Okay,
I
there's
think
half
that's
your
a
movement.
pretty good start. Second, I think the best course of action right now would to be to try to neutralize this thing. So I'm going to use, since it's within a 10-foot radius of me,
It is.
I'm going to use poison spray. I
Okay.
extend my hand toward a creature I can see and project a puff of noxious gas from it.
Hell yeah. And that is a
it's-
save on my end, correct?
Yeah, it's a save with a con level of. If we can beat 15,
Alright.
that's good.
That is a natural 15, so it does save.
Damn.
And because it is
Shrugs
a
off
cantrip,
the
I believe
poison.
it takes no damage, as it just sort of... You go to extend your hand and release this puff of poison cloud, and you just watch as it burrows under the ground for about 6 inches, boom, 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 tossing up stones in its wake, and then pops up in an area just maybe 2 or 3 feet away. This small one, no more than the size of a small dog. The larger, more like sort of sheep, maybe baby cow size.
Okay. Aha!
With
But that was just a feint. Time for the real attack. Go, Kevin! Because now I can command Kevin to attack as a bonus action.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
So
With my,
I believe you command him to attack as a bonus action. Does he take that attack on your turn, or does he take it on his turn?
I think. You
Oh,
know,
right,
let me
he's
check.
different.
Because I'm not sure if the command is instantaneous, and I'm unsure.
You know, it doesn't say here.
I will look
It
it
seems
up.
like it would make more sense if it was on his turn. So I'm going to tell him to attack. Yeah, it says under the investment of the Chainmaster evocation. As a bonus action, I can command the food and take the attack. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it doesn't say anything on here about it.
Okay.
But although if we were far away from
For
each
now,
other in the initiative,
let's
then that
do
wouldn't make
this.
sense.
Let's
because-
say for now, because it is your turn, if you want to command him to do something on your turn, I'll allow it. And if this gets retconned later, we'll fix it. Because I would rather give you the more advantageous than the less. Out of
Okay, cool.
ignorance.
Then I will say that Kevin also springs from my shoulder in his lithe, agile weasel form and tries to wrestle with this thing, mongoose style. Tries to chomp on it.
Awesome. So as he does, go ahead and roll an attack for Kevin.
Okay. Right, this is going to be +5 to hit. Yeah, okay. Really? Hold on. Wow.
What'd you roll to
okay.
hit?
I rolled a 17. It has a +5 to hit. So I guess it's a
17 definitely
21.
hits. Roll some damage.
Oh, holy smokes. Okay, hit 5, 1d4 plus 3 piercing damage.
Up next, we have the Big Mama, and then we have Bree and Winchester and Ambrose, and normally Kevin, but he's taking his action now.
Okay, so that's going to be 5 points of piercing damage, and the target must make a DC 11 Constitution saving throw.
And as it does, it rolls an 8
Okay,
and
so
fails.
it takes 3d6 poison damage on a failed save.
Hell yeah.
5 piercing damage plus 1.
3d8 now?
Yes.
Damn.
3d6.
3d6. I was going to say that went up when you leveled up.
No,
That's crazy.
3d6. So it takes 9 points of poison damage plus 5 points of piercing damage.
As
Did I say
Kevin
8?
lashes into this thing with his bite, it doesn't seem phased by the initial attack, but is that poison that is latent within his body. As a creature from underground takes hold, you watch as this tiny insectoid-like creature begins to fade and shiver and shake as that poison enters his body. How do you want to do this?
Oh!
Wow.
I'd say
What
that
is that?
Kevin is, well, I'm speaking for Kevin, of course. Kevin is like, he's moving and darting around this thing so fast, he looks more like a kind of intent as he like just goes at this thing from every angle, and as it sort of weakens and shudders, it drops to the ground, its legs curling up beneath it.
And as
Okay,
it
there's a-
does indeed do that, it dies and then withers, and then its legs curl, and you watch as that poison, despite its like sort of chitinous outer skeleton, the bits of flesh that you can see in the segments in between begin to turn black and dissolve and become victims to the poison that Kevin has begun to course through its body. And as it sees its child fall, the adult next to it lets out this horrible screeching roar and travels on a beeline directly for the small weasel-like creature that dealt a death blow to its
no.
child.
Uh-oh.
As it rushes directly over to Kevin on its turn now, and will go ahead and try to stab it once with each of its heavy, long, scythe-like front claws, sharpened into these points and made of this horrible sort of chitinous shell. That is a 14 and a 21 to hit.
Okay, well, those both hit because Kevin's armor class is 13, but I am sharing.
Wait, 1 sec.
Sorry.
Glass, yes.
Yes. On that first one, I am just going to. I'm going to say, we're the only one killing other things, babies here. And I will cutting words it.
Okay.
Which I believe is a D8 now.
Oh, hell yeah.
At our advanced age.
We're old.
So it is a, at the moment, a 14 minus your D8.
It's -8.
Oh.
So
well,
that
then
makes
that's
it
sure.
a 6.
Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't hit. Kevin definitely dodges around that first one. Second one,
Using
he's not
that
so lucky
brief
at.
window of distraction, Kevin manages to slide out of the way of the one, just in time watching it as it slides into the ground next to him to not notice the other one descending just above that skewers him right through the middle, dealing to him, let's see, a total of 9 points of piercing damage.
Well, hold on. I'm wearing that necklace that allows us
Would
to
you like to use
have-
that?
Yeah, it allows us to split the damage between
Okay.
us.
So as
So
your
in terms of-
reaction, you, I will decide. I'll let you decide who takes 4 and who takes 5.
I will take 5, and I can afford it.
Okay, cool. So with that, that ends the assault of the mother. Bree, you are now up. What would you like to do?
Okay. So I'm gonna tell Winchester to go run up north to kind of puppy guard the one that's up above the cart there.
Okay. What's his movement speed again?
Oh my gosh. I think it's like
40?
50? maybe 40.
Anyways, that's 25
he's
there. That's
hurt?
plenty of room to also
he's-
get around the cart.
Oh, he's dog.
Yeah,
No,
you used an action or whatever it was to transforming into a wolf as the sort of battle set in. I recall that.
I think
I think his movement speed is 40.
It's 40.
not
Yeah.
loading, but
Cool. He rushes up and
Um,
engages this other adult that is burrowed out of the ground and now poses a threat to you and the horses that move the cart. There is no one at the helm. What do you want you and or Winchester to do? Also, for you, because you were trampled by the horses, you are prone at the moment.
Well, then I will take whatever, half my movement to get up.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pull out my bow and shoot an arrow at the one engaged with Kevin down south.
Okay. So as you do, you knock an arrow and then pull back and release on the bow. Go ahead and roll your attack. And up next we have Winchester on your same turn, and then Ambrose.
That is a 13 to hit.
13 definitely hit. Actually, a 13 does not hit. As you release... Sorry, I was looking at the baby and not the adult. As you release your arrow, it strikes true and hits directly into the back of sort of the spiked chitinous insect-like shell, and then just king, immediately deflects and bounces off of the hardened exterior here. They have
Yeah, that's what I
some
was worried
form of
about.
natural armor.
you got 2 attacks though, right?
I do. I'm gonna attack a second time because I got
Okay.
2 attacks now.
As you swiftly knock another arrow and let fly,
That's 21.
21 will hit for sure. Roll some damage.
D8, right?
Okay, so that's 7 points of damage. I also want to cast Ensnaring Strike on this.
Okay, as a bonus action. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what that does.
That it's a strength save of 13. If it misses, it is restrained.
It is a natural 19. It is not restrained.
God damn it. Of course.
Well, but
Damage
you
for
keep
the
it up,
damage
right?
for the hit, regardless.
I'm sorry?
Damage for the hit. 'Cause you still
Oh,
did
it's
hit
7.
it. It just refrained from being ensnared. Does ensnaring strike do anything to the ground around it, or is it just on the one creature?
That's a good question.
Just go ahead and roll your damage first, and then you can figure that out and let me know after I get on to
It's-
Ambrose's turn.
It's 7.
7 points of damage. Nice. Strike into it, finding a soft spot between some of the plates on its back. And with that, it is Winchester's turn if he has anything to do on his turn here, as he's engaged with this other adult that is burrowed out of the ground just next to the horses.
I think I've used up all my
Yeah.
shit.
So he's taking the dodge action then, I believe, at this point. So
Yeah.
remind me, if I
Yeah.
attack him, it's at disadvantage. Ambrose, now down and prone next to this now dead youngling and the adult that is attacking Kevin. What would you like to do?
I want to stand up first.
Okay.
Since my walking speed is an odd number, how much would have to be?
We would round up for you.
Okay.
So for you, it would be 15.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna use half my movement
Sorry.
speed to.
Half of 35 rounded up would be 20, not 15.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to stand up and then move. Let's do the space directly to the west of the one that the baby corpse is on.
Okay. As you make your way over this direction, you find yourself sort of nestled in between a tree and a log that sort of forms the side of the road, and just ahead of you can see the sort of curled up form of the dead youngling and this massive insectoid creature that is just hissing with this large sort of split apart jaw right in the face of Kevin. What do you want to do?
So, I haven't used this spell before, and I hope I don't fuck this up royally. I'd like to use Tasha's Mind Whip.
Okay, what kind of a save is that?
Badass.
It's an intelligence saving throw of 16.
It's a good bet.
That is a natural 11 minus 2 for a 9, which fails. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic. It can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn.
Hell yeah.
And on the next turn, it can only move, take one action, or a bonus action. Only one of the three.
Nice. Okay, so it's like like a minor slow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a really good
So
spell.
Let me roll this psychic damage.
So as you roll your damage, also just sort of think about what that spell looks like as you cast it.
So that's a 10. I would imagine that if you've ever been a child.
Never.
Well, I haven't, so you'll have to describe it really good.
Emerge with his beard.
Have you ever done the thing where you take a pencil and you wiggle it and it looks like rubber?
Oh yeah.
Do that real quick once, twice, and just kind of launch this spell right at this terrifying creature.
And as this bizarre waveform of magical energy cascades into it, you watch as it just like sort of reels back and hisses this horrible sound and just almost all but falls to the ground and sort of backs away from the thing that that cast it. Kevin, just in front of it. And how much damage did it take?
That was 10.
10 points of
10
damage. Nice. Yeah. Beginning to show some signs of wear, but still not yet bloodied. With that, Kevin is up, but I think Kevin already took his action, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And so
I'm going to... Can I
Okay.
turn Kevin into a different form on his turn? Does that count as an action? or-
that is an action. His polymorph is an action, I believe.
Okay.
If
And
that
I
is
suppose-
different, after you look at his little stat block, let me know. But for now, we're going to go to Glass, and if we have to change that or retcon it, we're fine with that. Glass, what's up? What are you doing? You are on the back of the cart now that is like push forward and also run over Bree. And you just watch as he sort of emerges like boom, out from the underneath of the wheels directly behind the cart. The cart is still moving forward. We are just paused for the brief moment. The horses will act at the very end of the initiative order, so if they do not stop, you will continue forward. What would you like to do?
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh. I feel like I should get out. But or I don't know what. Can't tell. Wish I could talk to animals. I'll jump out.
Okay, where would you like to land?
I would like to land next to Bree.
Okay. It is a moving cart. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as you leap from the moving cart, as it trundles over
Sure.
and then just hits a heavy bump that you immediately realize is Bree.
Oh.
Yeah. What kind of check am I making?
Dex save.
Dex save. 14.
14, you're fine. You land with cat-like agility on the road next to Bree, who has fallen and then immediately stood up as this cart is beginning to pass over her and taken 2 shots with her bow, and you land next to her at a 3-point stance. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look and kind of survey. Feel like one in the back. I'm like, okay, mom's getting fucked up, and I'm gonna kind of just start just walking around, trying to get a sight on this this other one that Winchester is up on,
Okay.
and kind of do that. I've only seen the meme clip versions of it, but they're like, "Why are you running? Why are you running?
Why are you running?"
Doing that. At A2, and I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers just at first level.
And that's a natural 5, so whatever save it makes, it fails.
Yeah, it's a Wisdom 15. So it has to use its reaction to run away as far as it can.
And because that is natural movement, Winchester does get an attack of opportunity, so go ahead and roll for that really fast, Bree. as it
Yes.
departs
Ooh.
with its full speed of really fast. 40
Why are
feet.
you running?
And as it rushes off, what sort of damage, if any, does Winchester do?
So 17 to hit. So I think that
that does
hits.
miss.
Oh.
As it bites into the chitinous leg like a stick, and just you hear this crunch of tooth on bone, but it is unfazed.
17 doesn't hit.
Wow.
Jeez Louise.
And it
That's
skitters away
crazy.
across the ground and rushes away with, if it could emote fear in its eyes. Yes.
And it still does take 3d6 psychic damage.
Go ahead and roll for that damage then, because it did definitely fail that save on the spell.
Oh, not much. 8 damage.
8 points of damage. Nice. That's still pretty good. Cool. Are there any bonus actions or movement you would like to do on your turn? Before we move on to the one who, and just so I know, that wasn't a fear effect. It was just a reaction to move. It can move back if it wants to.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. It just uses its reaction to use that movement. Right. I think that's it.
Okay.
I'm
And
just
so-
gonna kind of, yeah. Oh, well, I moved. I meant to, I guess I RP'd this but didn't specify. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see what I'm pointing at.
Yeah, of course
Sorry.
you can.
I moved kind of left around the cart, kind of to where that rust spot is, but maybe
here?
not on top of it. Yep. Yeah. So that's what gave me sight on the on that guy.
Gotcha. All right. And then with that, it is now the one who had just fled its turn. It is going to rush that same 40 feet back across the ground over to Winchester and make 2 attacks with its sort of forearm scythe-like appendages. Those are going to be respectively a 12 and then a 21.
All right. 12 misses. 21 definitely hits.
21 hits, and as it lances into the side of Winchester, he lets out a canine yelp of pain. That is going to be 4 points of piercing damage with just a glancing blow. And with that, as that attack takes place, you just hear, I'll try to stop the horses! As Sister Garalee begins to rush up to the front of the cart, and she's going to make an animal handling check because no one else is stopping these horses if she doesn't, and she and the horses are fucking gone. So, big money, no whammies.
Big one.
That's, wow. Despite the fact that she has a +5, that is still only a 9.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And as the horses continue to bolt, she does manage to slow them, but does not stop them entirely. And so we now return where we're going to stop for the evening at the top of the order. But as we begin this next round of combat, you watch as 3 more creatures emerge from the dirt.
Oh my god.
Knew it couldn't be that easy.
I know. I was like, shit, throw a
And
big spell
I
on
don't
me?
think those are visible yet to you, but I will
What
make
else
sure that
is
they
gonna
are.
happen?
Oh, what could
There.
possibly happen? Oh my.
Awesome. Love it. Very cool.
And with that, as more of
Very
these
good, very cool.
insectoid-like creatures emerge from the red dirt below the snow and various bits of forest underbrush, we're going to go ahead and conclude tonight's episode and resume here as this threat increases against the troubleshooters. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching really fast. We do, I think, have a donation tonight. We have one $10 donation from the wonderful horses Jesse and Big Rig. The comment is nay, 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 winnie, winnie. Thank you so much, horses. You're the best. Trans rights for
Good.
horses.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
That's right.
And that's it for tonight's episode. We will be back next week at 7 p.m. We can't wait to see you here. Good job, everybody. Anything else to say before we call it for the evening?
Oh, just Tell your
Thanks.
friends.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks
No
for joining.
time.
Now's a great time to jump in if your friends haven't started listening yet. So let them know
Yeah.
that we're a show,
Tell them we're all like super hot and cool.
which
You
is
know.
very true.
Yeah, we'll make them turn.
We're hot and cool.
We're like a
Oh,
storm
yeah.
system.
And with that,
Joe.
we'll say goodnight. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you all. If you haven't and you decide you want to donate, now at the end of the stream, you're more than welcome to. We would love that. We'll talk about it at the start of the next stream. Thank you for being here. And good night, everybody.
Good night.